Chapter 559. Fake Saint, don't worry, I've already contacted my friends in the Great Xia Kingdom. I believe they will rush over in no time. Dan Xingzi smiled and raised his brows. They are already here. Hearing Dan Xingzi's words, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat, and he quickly extended his perception. SSS. Sensing the powerful aura exuding from the martial artists outside the miracle physician shop, Ning Yu couldn't help but gasp. There were a total of 3 martial artists at the entrance of the miracle physician shop. Among them, there were 2 middle-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artists and 1 late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist. Creak. The 3 martial artists didn't linger at the entrance of the miracle physician shop. They immediately opened the door and walked in. Swish. Seeing that the 3 martial artists suddenly barged in, the Alchemist Hall Master's expression changed slightly. He immediately released all his aura and transmitted a message to Ning Yu at the same time. Enemy attack. We're on the same side. Let them in. Ning Yu's voice sounded in the Alchemist Hall Master's ears. The Alchemist Hall Master was stunned at first, and then he slightly moved his body. The 3 martial artists weren't surprised by the Alchemist Hall Master's obstruction. It was as though they were used to this. They directly walked past the Alchemist Hall Master and entered the room. Dan Xingzi, I told you to stay at my place long ago. The late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist started grumbling the moment he entered the room. As he walked towards Dan Xingzi, he grumbled, "You just wouldn't listen. Now what? You've recovered from your injuries?" However, before the late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist came to Dan Xingzi's side, his eyes widened in extreme shock. As one of Dan Xingzi's best friends, he knew that Dan Xingzi's injuries were severe, so severe that it was basically impossible for him to recover. However, Dan Xingzi's current condition clearly looked like he was about to recover. As long as the black liquid accumulated in his legs was expelled, he could even walk upright. If someone said this to a late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist in the past, he would definitely think that that person was crazy. Don't say anything unnecessary. We'll move immediately. Dan Xingzi waved his hand, indicating that the late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist shouldn't ask too much for now. Leave it to us. The late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist patted his chest and guaranteed, "We were already prepared when we came. We definitely won't attract the attention of that old thief, Dan Xingzi. Lu Wei, I'm going to the Alchemy Union later. Why don't you?" Since Dan Xingzi's friend had come, Ning Yu felt that there was no need for him to stay. He had to prepare to head to the Alchemy Union. Or rather, he should look for President Zhou Tong first. As for Lu Wei, according to Ning Yu, he wanted her to stay, but he still had to ask for her opinion. "Let San'er go with you." Before Lu Wei could speak, her father, Lu Durong, said, "It's easier for young people to communicate with each other." "Father," Lu Wei said hurriedly. "Listen to me," Lu Durong said solemnly, his tone unquestionable. "All right." Lu Wei still wanted to say something, but seeing Lu Durong's expression, she could only choose to keep her mouth shut. Lu Wei wasn't a fool, and she naturally knew that Lu Durong was doing this for her own good. There were so many experts around Ning Yu, and following by Ning Yu's side might be the safest. "Senior, if there's nothing else, I'll make a move first. You guys should also move as soon as possible." Ning Yu gave Lu Wei a look and walked out of the room. However, Ning Yu paused at the door and turned back. "All right, I'll leave my friend here. Get him to contact me if there's anything." After saying that, Ning Yu left the room without turning back. As for Lu Wei, she glanced at her parents before following closely behind Ning Yu. Dan Xingzi, who was that just now? After Ning Yu left the room, the advanced stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist frowned and said, "Why do I feel a little familiar?" "Of course you're familiar. He's the core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute." "Ning Yu," Dan Xingzi explained. "What? He's Ning Yu?" The advanced stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist was shocked to hear that. He had heard quite a bit about Ning Yu during this period of time. Of course, it was all said by his grade 3 elixir master disciple. In fact, his disciple even took Ning Yu as his idol and wanted to witness Ning Yu's glory in this competition. He didn't expect that the young martial artist just now was Ning Yu. After a short moment of shock, the advanced stage Yin-Yang Realm martial artist said, Dan Xingzi, let's not waste any more time. Let's leave as soon as possible. At the same time, Ningyu had already left the Miracle Physician shop with Lu Wei. At the Miracle Physician shop, Ningyu had specially instructed the Alchemist Hall Master to ensure the safety of Lu Wei's parents. If there were any problems, he had to contact him immediately. Sun Jingwen was only at the pinnacle of the Primal Core stage and wouldn't be of much help even if he stayed behind. Therefore, Ningyu didn't ask him to stay, but let him enter the storage ring and stay by his side. Swoosh! Swoosh! After leaving the Miracle Physician shop, Ningyu found a place with no one around and let Feng Zi and Li Tongtian out of the storage ring. That was suffocating. The moment they left the storage ring, Feng Zi and Li Tongtian heaved a long sigh of relief. After staying in the storage ring for such a long time, the two of them could be considered to have witnessed Ningyu's prowess. Li Tongtian, in particular, looked at Ningyu gratefully and said, I can't thank you enough. From now on, your problems are my problems. As long as you say the word, I'll go through fire and water smack. Ningyu kicked Li Tongtian's butt and pretended to be angry. Forget it. Don't play with me. Let me ask you, who exactly are you? Li Tongtian wasn't angry after being kicked by Ningyu. He dusted himself off and said, My master is an elder of Danwu College. I should be the Grand Elder. And my identity is the fake holy son of Danwu College. Fake holy son? Ningyu frowned slightly. Clearly, he had never heard of a fake holy son. However, he had heard of a holy son. It was an existence that surpassed the core disciples. In the entire history of Danwu College, there had only been one holy son. What the hell was a fake holy son? A fake holy son is a candidate for the holy son. Only by defeating the shadow left behind by the previous holy son can one advance to become a real holy son and enjoy the highest level of treatment in Danwu College. Li Tongtian explained, there are a total of 8 fake holy sons in Danwu College, and I'm just one of them. Forget it. Let's hurry to the Alchemy Union. Ningyu thought about it and felt that there was no need to waste time here. The most important thing now was to find Zhou Tong as soon as possible. That was the most important thing. While Ningyu and the rest were rushing to the Alchemy Union, there were a few martial artists arguing fiercely in the main hall of the Alchemy Union. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely realize that he was very familiar with one of the martial artists. Chapter 560. Zhou Tong's Wrath. Why can't I replace him? At the registration area of the Alchemy Union, Zhou Tong's face was flushed red as he said angrily, the student who signed up previously couldn't come because of something. Can't someone else participate in the alchemy competition? There's no why. A man in his 30s or 40s said impatiently. I can tell you this very clearly. Don't even think about changing people to participate in the alchemy competition. Scram back to where you came from. As he spoke, the man unleashed his soul power and pressed down on Zhou Tong. The 3-star badge on the man's shoulder indicated that he was a 3rd-level alchemist, just like Zhou Tong. However, the man's soul power was stronger than Zhou Tong's. He was a peak 3rd-level alchemist, only one step away from becoming a 4th-level alchemist. On the other hand, Zhou Tong was only a late-stage 3rd-level alchemist. Facing the man's 3rd-level soul power, Zhou Tong was no match for him. He coughed out a mouthful of blood, and his face paled. Who is that? How dare he talk back to Master Chun? Yeah, Master Chun is a peak 3rd-level alchemist. He is the president of the Alchemy Union of Tianxian City. I heard that he wants to replace him. Replace him? If he really wants to replace him, Master Chun has no reason to stop him. You guys don't know about this. Hearing the discussion of the martial artists, a 3rd-level alchemist said in a low voice, I heard that Master Chun is close to the Zhang family. The Zhang family must be behind this. The Zhang family? The surrounding martial artists all revealed a look of sudden realization. Zhang Wenyong died in Tianxian City, and Zhou Tong was the president of the Alchemy Union of Tianxian City. Therefore, it was reasonable for the Zhang family to make things difficult for Zhou Tong. Chunming, we have a martial artist in Liwang City who can't participate in the alchemy competition. Help us replace him. At that moment, a martial artist walked into the alchemy union. On this warrior's shoulder, there was a 5-star badge. It was obvious that this martial artist was a 5th-level alchemist. So it's Master Huan. You could have just sent a message for this small matter. There's no need for you to come personally. Seeing the 5-star badge on Huan's shoulder, Chunming immediately retracted his soul power and said with a smile, "Leave the registration to me, and you can change the person at any time." Xiao. Huan nodded in satisfaction. With a flick of his sleeve, a piece of paper flew toward Chunming. "This is the name list for our replacement. If there's nothing else, I'll be leaving first. I still have to go back and supervise those fellows to train properly." After saying this, Huan left the alchemy union. "Let me see you out." Chunming took the paper and followed behind Huan. Chunming only returned to the alchemy union when Huan disappeared at the end of the street. "Chunming, didn't you tell me that there was no way to substitute people for the alchemy competition? Why can that person be replaced?" Zhou Tong was exceptionally furious as he said in a low voice, "Don't be unreasonable here. Huan is a 5th-level alchemist, and you're only a 3rd-level alchemist." Chunming said disdainfully, "Moreover, the registration time for the alchemy union is this afternoon. If you come here and cause trouble, even if I lock you up, no one will say anything." "Don't tell me that the registration time is in the afternoon." Zhou Tong spat and said, "The registration time is in the afternoon. All the alchemy unions have already completed the registration a week ago." "If I say no, then no." Chunming snorted coldly. Immediately, his peak 3rd-level soul power poured out and pressed toward Zhou Tong again. "Puchi! Puchi!" Zhou Tong's breath was already weak. Now that he was being suppressed by Chunming's soul power, he spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood and his breath became even weaker. "Chunming, you're using your power to get even with me." Wiping the blood from the corner of his mouth, Zhou Tong scolded, "I want to see the higher-ups of the alchemy union. I want to complain about you." "Hee, using your power to get even with me? Complain about me?" The corner of Chunming's lips curled up and he laughed sinisterly. "To tell you the truth, I'm using my power to get even with you today. What will you do about it? Back in Tianxian City, you stole my position as the president. You didn't expect it, right? Now that I've settled down in the capital's alchemy union, I'm doing much better than you. It's just a 3rd-rate city's alchemy union. If you want to complain, go ahead. Let's see if anyone cares about you." Whoosh! Chunming's words caused a huge uproar in the alchemy union. Originally, they thought that Chunming was entrusted by the Zhang family. Now, it seemed that there were other secrets. No wonder Chunming made things difficult for Zhou Tong. So there's a grudge between them. Didn't you hear what Chunming said? Zhou Tong stole his position as the president. This is a huge grudge. He definitely can't tolerate it. That's right. Stealing the president's position is no different from cutting off Chunming's future. If it was me, I would have kicked Zhou Tong out of the alchemy union long ago. How could I still allow him to behave so atrociously? The surrounding martial artist discussion caused Zhou Tong's face to turn cold. A bunch of nonsense. Completely a bunch of nonsense. The position of president in Profound Sky City's alchemy union was a fair competition. Whoever refined a 3rd-grade medicinal pill first would be able to become the president. At that time, Chunming cheated and was exposed by the previous president. In the end, he was expelled from Profound Sky City. Who would have thought that now that Chunming was doing well, he would put the blame on him? "Chunming, do you dare to take off your shirt?" Zhou Tong said in a clear voice. "Back when you were fighting for the position of president of the alchemy union, you were exposed by the old president because you cheated. If I remember correctly, there should be a black mark on your chest. That mark is the after-effect of your cheating." "Snake heart flower," Zhou Tong continued. "In order to refine medicinal pills faster, you added a small amount of snake heart flower into the cauldron. Unexpectedly, the old president discovered it. Hence, the poisonous fire attacked your heart, and you were devoured by the snake heart flower. If it wasn't for the old president and I working together to expel the venom from the snake heart flower, you would have died long ago. How could you still live until now?" Swoosh! Zhou Tong's words caused the surrounding martial artists to be dumbfounded. Things happened too fast, so fast that they could not react in time. The snakeheart flower's venom is very high, but adding a small amount during the process of refining medicinal pills can speed up the process of forming pills. Although it can speed up the process of forming pills, the medicinal pills refined contain extremely strong venom and can't be consumed at all. The snakeheart flower is a taboo herb in the alchemy world. Chunming couldn't have really used it before, right? It's hard to say. Look at Chunming's expression. It's very ugly. Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists shifted their gazes towards Chunming. At this time, Chunming's fists were tightly clenched and his chest was heaving up and down. Accurately speaking, Chunming was on the verge of exploding with rage. Zhou Tong, so many years have passed. To think that you don't even frown when lying. Chapter 561. Small Snake Mark Swish. As his voice fell, Chunming's eyes revealed a hint of coldness, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of Zhou Tong. A fist brought with it a violent yuan qi gale, and without any deviation, it landed squarely on Zhou Tong's chest. Bang! The huge force that came from his chest caused Zhou Tong, who was already heavily injured, to be forced back several feet before he could stabilize his body. Pucci! A mouthful of dark red blood spurted out, and Zhou Tong's complexion became bloodless. Zhou Tong was only half a step into the true martial realm, but Chunming was at the peak of the true martial realm. The difference between the two was like heaven and earth. In other words, if Chunming wanted to kill Zhou Tong, it would be very easy. In that instant, Chunming indeed had the thought of killing Zhou Tong, but this thought was quickly extinguished by him. After all, this was the Alchemy Union. His authority was not so great that he could openly kill someone here. I must find a chance to kill you. Only then can I resolve the hatred in my heart. Looking at the weak Zhou Tong, Chunming snorted, and a hint of killing intent surfaced in his eyes. If you know what's good for you, hurry up and scram. Chunming stared coldly at Zhou Tong and said in a deep voice, I don't want to say the same thing twice. Today, unless you kill me, I will not leave. Zhou Tong stood up from the ground with difficulty and said angrily, You don't dare to take off your clothes because you have a guilty conscience. What? Zhou Tong's words caused the originally doubtful crowd to instantly start discussing. What Zhou Tong said, it can't be true, right? A martial artist said. How is that possible? Zhou Tong is talking nonsense. He must be jealous of Master Chun. That's why he's slandering Master Chun. A second-grade alchemist who was on good terms with Chunming denied. Since Zhou Tong is slandering, Chunming should take off his clothes to prove his innocence. A peak third-grade alchemist did not give Chunming any face and said in a deep voice, Yeah, such a simple matter, but Chunming made it so complicated. Another third-grade alchemist echoed, They can settle their grudges themselves? What's the point of making a scene here? Isn't this delaying our business? It's all because Zhou Tong is being unreasonable. The second-grade alchemist mumbled, If I were Master Chun, I would have thrown Zhou Tong out of the Alchemy Union a long time ago. Why would I let him run wild here? Hearing the discussions of the surrounding martial artists, Chunming's face turned ashen. He did not expect that this matter would arouse the dissatisfaction of some of the alchemists. Fortunately, among the dissatisfied alchemists, the highest level was only the peak of the third grade, the same as him. Zhou Tong, throwing you out of the Alchemy Union was not my idea. It was everyone's idea. You are wasting everyone's time here. Chunming rolled his eyes and said in a clear voice, In order to maintain the order of the Alchemy Union, I can only throw you out. Then, Chunming slowly came before Zhou Tong. Under Zhou Tong's horrified gaze, Chunming kicked him in the back. Bang! Zhou Tong's body was like a kite with a broken string, flying straight out of the Alchemy Union. I've embarrassed myself in front of everyone. After kicking Zhou Tong out, Chunming smiled and said, Zhou Tong came to cause trouble. I am also responsible. I will do my best from now on. Do your best to kick any martial artist who has a grudge against you out of the Alchemy Union. Before Chunming finished his sentence, his expression changed drastically. In front of the main entrance of the Alchemy Union, a martial artist slowly walked in. Behind him, there were a total of 4 martial artists. 2 martial artists held Zhou Tong, and a young lady around 20 years old followed behind them. Zhou Tong came here to cause trouble. I've already done my best by not killing him, Chun Ming said coldly. If you dare to come and cause trouble again, don't blame me for not being courteous. Hee, if that's the case, I have to thank you. Ningyu smiled, then changed the topic and said coldly, Say it. What do you want to thank me for? Arrogant. This is the Alchemy Union. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. Chun Ming roared in anger. His soul force swept out and pressed down on Ningyu. Towards Chun Ming's soul force, Ningyu did not take it to heart. He turned around and said, President Zhou, what kind of grudge do you have with this guy? Tell me. Back then, we were both from Tianxian City's Alchemy Union, and we were the most likely contenders for the position of president. Zhou Tong explained. The old president proposed a test. Whoever could refine a 3rd-grade medicinal pill could become the president of Tianxian City's Alchemy Union. Who knew that Chun Ming used the snake heart flower and was discovered by the old president. Because of this, he was expelled from the Alchemy Union, expelled from Tianxian City. From then on, he bore a grudge against me. So, what's the snake heart flower? Ningyu nodded, then said, No wonder this guy's forehead was faintly black, and his fingertips were pale yellow. All the signs indicated that he must have suffered from the backlash of the snake heart flower. Ningyu continued, If I'm not wrong, there must be a mark left behind by the backlash on his chest. Fine, I'll let everyone see his true colors. As he spoke, Ningyu walked towards Chun Ming step by step. Ningyu's speed was very slow. Every step he took was heavy on the ground, making loud thuds. Who is he? It's Ningyu, the core disciple of Danwu College's Sacred Institute. Ningyu. What? He's a martial artist who won the 1st place in the Sacred Institute's test. That's right. I heard that Ningyu came from Tianxian City, but I didn't think much of it. Now it seems that I'm behind the times. Yeah, Chun Ming offended Zhou Tong. Doesn't that mean he offended Ningyu as well? Hee, this is going to be a good show. The discussions of the surrounding martial artists entered Chun Ming's ears, causing his expression to change drastically and his heart to sink to the bottom of the valley. He had heard of Ningyu before. Not only was his soul force strong, his abilities were also very high. Although Wei Zhe and Ningyu's intense battle had been suppressed by Wei Zhe, Chun Ming still found out from various sources that Ningyu's true abilities were around the middle stage of the Yuan dance stage. This was because Wei Zhe was a middle stage Yuan dance stage martial artist. The fact that Ningyu could fight him to a draw and even had the upper hand was enough to prove that Ningyu's abilities were exceptionally strong. Ningyu, this is the Alchemy Union, and I'm from the Alchemy Union. As he watched Ningyu approach him step by step, Chun Ming tried his best to calm himself down. Rip. However, before he could finish his sentence, Ningyu suddenly sped up, and at the same time, a small flying sword appeared in his hand, directly cutting off his shirt. This. Just as Chun Ming's shirt was cut off, the surrounding martial artists could not help but suck in a breath of cold air. Some of the lower-level martial artists even felt their scalps go numb, faintly unable to control themselves. On Chun Ming's chest, there was a small black snake coiled around him. The small snake was only the size of a palm, and on its head was a flower the size of a thumb. Chapter 562. Xiaobo. The snake heart flower backlash mark. The small black snake on Chun Ming's chest was the mark caused by the snake heart flower backlash. No wonder Chun Ming didn't dare to take off his shirt. He really used the snake heart flower and suffered the backlash. It was going to be a good show this time. Chun Ming is a member of the Alchemy Union. For Ningyu to teach him a lesson here, he's more or less looking down on the Alchemy Union. You can't say that. Chun Ming was completely at fault in this matter. Ningyu's actions are understandable. Even if the higher-ups of the Alchemy Union come out, they won't be able to say anything. Let's watch for now. No matter what, the Alchemy Union will definitely intervene. Seeing the small snake mark on Chun Ming's chest, the surrounding martial artists instantly pointed their spears at him. In the world of alchemy, The snake heart flower was a taboo ingredient. It was fine if it was used behind someone's back, but if others found out about it, the consequences would be unimaginable. Fengzi. Ningyu ignored the surrounding martial artist discussions and called out in a deep voice. Here. Fengzi took a step forward and arrived beside Ningyu. The injuries that Chairman Zhou suffered paid Chun Ming back double. Ningyu said coldly. Understood. Fengzi nodded his head and walked towards Chun Ming step by step. Ningyu, this is the Alchemy Union. Aren't you afraid of being punished by the Alchemy Union if you dare to behave atrociously here? Chun Ming berated as he watched Fengzi approach him. Chun Ming knew that Ningyu was the true leader. As long as he scared Ningyu, Fengzi would stop. However, Ningyu turned a deaf ear to his words and actually started chatting with Lu Wei. Ningyu's actions made Chun Ming gnash his teeth in anger, but there was nothing he could do. Stop! Before Fengzi reached Chun Ming's side, a loud shout rang out from within the Alchemy Union. Following this loud shout, a figure slowly walked out of the Alchemy Union. The figure came to Chun Ming's side and said coldly to Ningyu, "This is the Alchemy Union. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously." Fifth grade apothecary? When Ningyu saw the cultivator who suddenly appeared, he raised his eyebrows and said indifferently, "A life for a life." Chun Ming injured Chairman Zhou earlier for no reason at all. It's time to return the favor. Fengzi, what are you still standing there for? Then, Ningyu's face turned cold as he said in a deep voice, "Got it." Hearing Ningyu's words, Fengzi rose from the ground and charged at Chun Ming. At the same time, Fengzi's fist emitted a violent surge of vital energy as he punched towards Chun Ming's chest. Although Fengzi's cultivation was only at the early primal core stage, his strength was incomparably valiant, and he could even contend with an ordinary martial artist who was half a step into the yin-yang realm. Chun Ming was only at the peak of the true martial realm. How could he be Fengzi's opponent? Elder Zhao, save me. Feeling the billowing vital energy fluctuation from Fengzi's body, Chun Ming's expression changed drastically as he hurriedly cried out, courting death. Zhao Bo was furious, extremely furious. He did not expect that after he appeared, Ningyu would still dare to give an order. Swoosh! In the next moment, Zhao Bo rose from the ground, intending to severely injure Fengzi. Hee, your opponent is me. However, just as Zhao Bo moved, Ningyu smiled and blocked in front of him. Bang! Facing Ningyu's sudden attack, Zhao Bo could only give up on attacking, and instead threw a punch. Unable to avoid, it collided with Ningyu's fist. A crisp sound rang out, and immediately, the two figures retreated quickly. Ningyu only took half a step back, while Zhao Bo retreated to the exit of the Alchemy Union before stabilizing his body. With this move, it was obvious who was stronger. What? Ningyu's strength is so strong? Other than being a fifth-grade alchemist, Zhao Bo himself is also at the half-step yin-yang stage. He's actually at a disadvantage in a fight with Ningyu. Zhao Bo must have been careless. That's right, Zhao Bo wanted to save Chun Ming, but he never thought that Ningyu would suddenly attack. If I'm not wrong, Zhao Bo only used 50% of his strength. While the surrounding martial artists were shocked by Ningyu's move, most of them were finding excuses for Zhao Bo. After all, Zhao Bo was a martial artist who had been famous in the Alchemy Union for a long time, while Ningyu had only recently risen. Whether it was cultivation or soul force strength, everyone believed that Zhao Bo had the absolute advantage. Just then, two consecutive pig-slaughtering screams rang out. Chun Ming fell heavily on the ground and fell face first into the mud. Other than that, Chun Ming's aura was abnormally weak. It was obvious that Fengzi had completely followed Ningyu's instructions, giving Chun Ming twice as many injuries as Zhou Tong. Ningyu, this is the Alchemy Union, not Danwu College. Not being able to save Chun Ming personally, Zhao Bo felt that he had lost face and was embarrassed. Being embarrassed in front of everyone, Zhao Bo naturally wanted to get back at him. Could it be that you want to start a war between Danwu College and the Alchemy Union? Zhao Bo rolled his eyes and said coldly, "First, I want to correct a few mistakes in your words. Ningyu shrugged and said indifferently, "First, I can't represent Danwu College, and you can't represent the Alchemy Union. Second, I don't want to start a war between Danwu College and the Alchemy Union because I don't have this qualification and you don't have it either." "Ha ha ha." Zhao Bo laughed maniacally and said sinisterly, "No matter what, you're fated to not have a good ending for causing trouble here today. Ningyu, if there's nothing else, let's leave the Alchemy Union and prepare for tomorrow's alchemy competition." Seeing that Ningyu wanted to say something, Zhou Tong hurriedly said. Zhou Tong had always thought that the martial artist who obtained first place in Danwu College's Sacred Institute examination only had the same name as Ningyu. Who would have thought that the martial artist was Ningyu? And Zhou Tong's main purpose for coming here this time was to find someone else to participate in the alchemy competition. Now that Ningyu had appeared, there was no need for him to find someone else. Moreover, this was the Alchemy Union, and the power inside was complicated. Zhou Tong was afraid that Ningyu would be at a disadvantage, so he kept urging Ningyu to leave. "President Zhou, don't worry. I know what I'm doing." How could Ningyu not know what Zhou Tong was thinking? But he didn't care. With his current strength and status, even if the higher management of the Alchemy Union appeared, they might not be able to take him down. Moreover, today's matter was Chunming's fault. If the higher management of the Alchemy Union dared to protect Chunming, Ningyu would let them know that there were some things they could do, and some things they couldn't. The Alchemy Union had a total of 8 floors. At the same time, in a room on the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. Truly a young talent. There were only 2 martial artists in the room. To be more precise, they were 2 old men. One of the old men dressed in black smiled and said, "Dan Xinzi, how does Ningyu compare to your last disciple, Yi Tian?" Yi Tian is not Ningyu's opponent. Chapter 563. A piece of supreme-grade essence crystal Yi Tian had lost to Ningyu twice, and Dan Xinzi knew this very well. Dan Xinzi had always wanted to meet Ningyu. He wanted to know who was able to defeat his last disciple so easily. Before he went into seclusion, Yi Tian's alchemy skills were among the best among his peers. Even if he wasn't top 3, he was at least top 5. Who would have thought that after he came out of seclusion, he would find out that Yi Tian had lost to the same person twice? Furthermore, that person came from Tianxian City, a remote city. Not simple. To have such a strong soul force and cultivation at such a young age, he could even participate in the Danwu College's Sacred Sun exam. The black-robed elder revealed a grave expression and said, "Even in the entire Great Xia Kingdom's Alchemy Union, he could be ranked top 3. He could even fight for first place." "First place? You are overestimating him." Dan Xinzi smirked and said, "If I didn't guess wrongly, among the younger generations of the Alchemy Union, at least 3 have reached the peak of 5th-grade soul force. For this alchemy competition, your Alchemy Union has put in a lot of effort." The Alchemy Union and Danwu College had reached an agreement. The top 3 martial artists in the alchemy competition could represent Danwu College to participate in the 100 Academy tournament. If it was in the past, the Alchemy Union would never agree to this request. But it was different now. The conditions offered by Danwu College were too attractive to the Alchemy Union. It was so attractive that they couldn't reject it. To put it simply, any martial artist who obtained the top 3 in the alchemy competition could enter Danwu College's forbidden area unconditionally, the Elixir Cavern, to cultivate for a day and a night. The Elixir Cavern was the forbidden area of Danwu College. The Alchemy Union had always wanted to know what was inside, but they couldn't find out. They definitely didn't want to let go of this opportunity. "Dan Xinzi, I don't believe that you don't want to explore the Elixir Cavern," the black-robed elder said. "You have been in seclusion for so long, but didn't you advance from early stage to mid-stage grade 8? In a vast capital, only those from Danwu College can enhance their soul strength to the middle stage of level 8. Don't you have any ideas?" "I do have an idea." A serious look appeared in Dan Xinzi's eyes. "However, we cannot be reckless. It is not easy to enter the pill cave. We need to plan this carefully. I naturally know that this matter needs to be considered at length." The black-clothed martial artist smiled and said, Are you interested in meeting Ningyu? Or should I say, asking him to come up? Dan Shinzi pondered for a moment, then shook his head and said, You can go see him if you want. I have something to take care of. Buzz. As he spoke, Dan Shinzi's body gradually became illusory and quickly disappeared. Sigh. Seeing Dan Shinzi disappear, the black-clothed cultivator softly sighed and muttered, I wonder if working with Dan Shinzi this time was the right decision. Ningyu, you know what you're doing? What sense of propriety do you have? On the first floor of the Alchemy Union, Zhao Bo's face was filled with anger. Through the exchange just now, Zhao Bo had already determined the gap between him and Ningyu. He was not Ningyu's opponent at all. Zhao Bo was not an idiot. Since he knew that he was not Ningyu's opponent, he would not foolishly rush up and fight Ningyu. At this moment, half of the anger on his face was real, and the other half was faked. Just now, he had already contacted the third-ranked genius of the Alchemy Union, Situun. What he needed to do now was to delay Ningyu. He could not let Ningyu leave the Alchemy Union. When Situun arrives, I will definitely make you lose all your face. Zhao Bo obviously did not know that Ningyu's skill in alchemy was greater than his martial skills. There were very few people in the same generation who could defeat Ningyu in alchemy. From Zhao Bo's point of view, Ningyu's soul force was only at the middle stage of grade 5, which was only one level stronger than him. Situun's soul force was at the peak of grade 5. Wouldn't it be easy for him to defeat Ningyu in alchemy? Ningyu, let's leave quickly. Lu Wei was nervous. She quietly pulled on the corner of Ningyu's shirt and whispered, The less trouble, the better. That's what I was thinking too. Ningyu thought for a while and felt that there was no point in staying any longer. He might as well leave quickly and find a place to stay first. Thus, Ningyu turned around and walked out of the Alchemy Union. Seeing that Ningyu was about to leave, Zhao Bo was dumbfounded. Situun was on his way here. If Ningyu left now, wouldn't his efforts be in vain? No matter what, he had to stop Ningyu. Swoosh. Moving his feet, Zhao Bo steadily blocked in front of Ningyu. Are you going to leave just like that? Zhao Bo said coldly. You injured Chunming. No matter what, you have to leave something behind. Ningyu stopped in his tracks. In fact, Ningyu had already sensed the soul force fluctuation from Zhao Bo's body. However, Ningyu didn't want to expose Zhao Bo. He felt that he could use this to blackmail Zhao Bo. What do you want me to leave behind? Ningyu said indifferently. You. Zhao Bo pointed his finger at Ningyu and said in a deep voice, You can't leave anyway. Swoosh. Zhao Bo's unreasonable behavior directly caused waves of commotion in the surroundings. A dignified grade 5 alchemist wanted Ningyu to leave something behind, but didn't say what it was. Had he lost his mind? Do you think Ningyu will leave directly? I guess he will. After all, this is the Alchemy Union. Only an idiot would stay. That's right. Since so much time has passed and the higher-ups of the Alchemy Union didn't show up, they must have tacitly agreed that Ningyu can leave. However, Zhao Bo came out to stop Ningyu. It's a bit unreasonable. The discussions of the surrounding martial artists caused Zhao Bo's expression to turn extremely ugly. However, thinking that Situun would appear later, Zhao Bo felt slightly better. Hold on for a few more minutes. In a few more minutes, Situun will be here. Zhao Bo was silently counting the time. At this moment, he couldn't wait for time to pass a little faster, a little faster. It's fine if you don't let me leave, but you have to promise me one thing. Ningyu raised an eyebrow, and his gaze fell on Zhao Bo's waist. There was a storage bag there. With Ningyu's super strong soul force, he naturally found out that there were 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals in the storage bag. Ningyu didn't care why Zhao Bo had 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. In short, these yuan crystals were very useful to him. The Red Demon sword needed 200,000 supreme grade yuan crystals to advance to the monarch rank. Now, he was still short of 100,000. If he obtained the 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals on Zhao Bo, then he would only be left with 50,000. 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. In 3 days, Ningyu was confident that he could get it. What is it? Zhao Bo asked in a deep voice. It's not a big deal. It's just that the storage bag on your waist has a nice design. It's the type I like. Chapter 564. Chapter 564. Change of structure. A piece of supreme essence crystal. Xiaobo stretched out a finger and pointed at his own nose. Do I look like an idiot to you? Hearing Xiao Bo's strange request, Ningyu stared at Xiao Bo seriously. After a while, Ningyu nodded and said, "Yes, very much so. If you didn't mention it, I wouldn't have realized that you look so much like an idiot." Ha ha ha. Ningyu's words caused the surrounding martial artists to roar with laughter. The surrounding martial artists laughed, but Xiao Bo's expression darkened to the extreme. "I'll endure it. Endure for a few more minutes." Xiao Bo forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart and took off the storage bag at his waist. He said in a low voice, "It's not impossible if you want this storage bag. As long as your soul force reaches early stage rank 5, I can give it to you unconditionally." Hearing this, Ningyu was dumbfounded for a moment and stood rooted to the ground. In this world, could there really be such an idiot? If one's soul force reached early stage rank 5, they could get 50,000 supreme essence crystals. What was the difference between this and giving it away for free? After a short moment of shock, Ningyu said, "Xiao Bo, you said it. You can't go back on your words later." "Oomph. Why would I, Xiao Bo, do something that would go back on my words?" Xiao Bo snorted coldly. He reached into his pocket and took out a crystal ball. On the crystal ball, there were 5 dots of light. This crystal ball is specially used to check soul force. A rank 1 soul force can light up 1 dot. A rank 2 soul force can light up 2. Waving the crystal ball in his hand, Xiao Bo said, "As long as you can light up all 5 dots and emit a dazzling light, it means that your soul force has reached early stage rank 5. When that time comes, I will naturally give you the storage bag." Whoosh! When the surrounding martial artists saw the crystal ball in Xiao Bo's hand, they all revealed a look of realization. Some of the martial artists even began to discuss in low voices. "Hee, Xiao Bo is up to no good again." "Up to no good? What do you mean?" Those who often come into contact with Xiao Bo know that there's something wrong with his crystal ball. That's right. There's definitely something wrong with the crystal ball. The first 4 light spots are fine. As long as one's soul power reaches the 4th grade, they will be able to light up. However, the 5th light spot has a big problem. A peak grade 4 alchemist said in a deep voice, "Don't even mention a grade 5 soul force. Even if it reached grade 6, it would still be impossible to light up the 5th light. Doesn't that mean that Ningyu will definitely lose?" "Of course. Fortunately, Ningyu doesn't have to pay a price if he fails." Otherwise, after knowing that there was a problem with Xiao Bo's crystal ball, some martial artists began to cry out for justice for Ningyu. Of course, most of them felt that Ningyu was lucky. However, before the last martial artist could finish his sentence, he opened his mouth slightly and thought to himself that he really was a jinx. Xiao Bo once again hung the storage bag on his waist and sinisterly said, "Ningyu, my stake is the storage bag. What's yours?" "I still want to bet." Ningyu opened his mouth and then calmed down. Without batting an eyelid, he said, "What do you want to bet?" "Very simple. If you lose, you have to stay here for 5 minutes. You can't go anywhere." Xiao Bo said coldly, "I can't accept this bet." Ningyu shook his head. "Ha ha ha. You can't even accept this bet?" Xiao Bo laughed at the sky and then said coldly, "Can you not look like you've lost your mind?" Ningyu glanced at Xiao Bo and then said, "What I mean is, I'll add another 50,000 supreme yuan crystals. If I win, give me the storage bag and then give me 50,000 transcendent grade origin crystals. If I lose, I'll stay here for 5 minutes and then give you 50,000 supreme yuan crystals." Swoosh! Ningyu's bold words directly caused the surrounding martial artists to be momentarily stunned. Could it be that Ningyu was an idiot? Clearly, there was something wrong with Xiao Bo's crystal ball. How could Ningyu still dare to increase the bet? Furthermore, it was 50,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals at once. Ningyu even said that Xiao Bo has lost his mind. In my opinion, he's the one who has lost his mind. I don't understand this either. It's clear that Xiao Bo will win. "Ningyu, There's something wrong with Zhao Bo's crystal ball. You mustn't bet with him. In the end, even several martial artists who had grudges with Zhao Bo started to speak up to warn Ningyu. Since you're seeking death, don't blame me. Zhao Bo knew that he would definitely win, so he agreed to Ningyu without hesitation. Furthermore, fearing that Ningyu would go back on his word, Zhao Bo even swore a heavenly Dao oath in front of everyone. After swearing the heavenly Dao oath, Zhao Bo looked at Ningyu provocatively. The meaning was self-evident. Don't worry, I'll definitely swear the heavenly Dao oath. Ningyu shrugged and then also swore the heavenly Dao oath in front of everyone. Dong! Seeing that Ningyu swore the heavenly Dao oath, Zhao Bo directly threw the crystal ball on the counter and said in a deep voice, "Let's begin. Inject your soul force into the crystal ball." Ningyu did not have the slightest bit of hesitation as he slowly walked toward the counter. A moment later, Ningyu came in front of the counter. He extended his right hand and placed it on the crystal ball. Ding! Just as Ningyu's palm touched the crystal ball, a light spot lit up. Ding! Ding! Immediately after, the second and third light spots also lit up. How can the light spots light up so quickly? Could it be that Ningyu can light up the fifth light spot? You're thinking too much. The speed at which the first few light spots lit up means that Ningyu's soul force has most likely reached the 5th grade. Yes, but for Ningyu to light up the 5th light spot is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. Ding! While the surrounding martial artists were discussing, the 4th light spot lit up very quickly. After the first 4 light spots were lit up, the crystal ball seemed to have disappeared without any signs of lighting up. You want to light up the 5th light spot? Even a 6th grade alchemist can't do it. How can you, a mere 5th grade alchemist, do it? Seeing that the crystal ball had no reaction, the corner of Zhao Bo's mouth curled up as a trace of disdain appeared in his eyes. I paid a huge price for this crystal ball and hired a 7th grade alchemist to tamper with it. If I let you light up the 5th light spot so easily, wouldn't that be terrible? There's indeed something wrong with the crystal ball. The structure inside has been changed. Ningyu injected his soul force into the crystal ball while checking the structure inside. In his previous life, Ningyu had even personally made a crystal ball like this to test the strength of soul force. Therefore, very quickly, Ningyu discovered the problem inside the crystal ball. With Ningyu's current soul force strength, it was very difficult to change the structure in a short period of time. Since I can't change the structure, I'll borrow a bit of Sun Jiangwen's soul force and just need to light up the 5th light spot. Ningyu had an idea and directly communicated with Sun Jiangwen. Can you do it or not? If you can't, just stop and hand over the 50,000 supreme grade crystals. Chapter 565. Chapter 565 of his story A Matter of Pride Rumble. Just as Zhao Bo was happily crossing his legs, an earth-shattering roar resounded. Immediately, the crystal ball on the counter exploded with 5 blinding rays of light. What? That's impossible. The sudden change made Zhao Bo's expression change drastically. Due to his nervousness, Zhao Bo almost fell to the ground. Even so, Zhao Bo's expression was as ugly as a pig's liver. He never expected that something that was originally in the bag would have a variable. Moreover, this variable was something that he could never have guessed. Not only did Ningyu light up the 5th light spot, but it also exploded with a scorching light along with the other 4 light spots. What's going on? Why is the 5th light spot shining? I don't know either. Logically speaking, it's impossible. Could it be that Ningyu's soul strength has reached grade 6? It's also impossible for him to reach grade 6. Zhao Bo's crystal ball claims that only a grade 7 alchemist can light up the 5th light spot. Doesn't that mean that Ningyu's soul strength has reached grade 7? Swoosh! The last martial artist's voice fell and the surroundings fell silent. This kind of silence was abnormally scary. Even the sound of breathing could not be heard. The way everyone looked at Ning, you had a very obvious change. Such a young grade 7 alchemist could no longer be described as a freak or genius. It could only be described as abnormal. No, Ningyu's soul strength has not reached grade 7. It's only grade 5. At this moment, a grade 5 alchemist said in a low voice, "The reason why Ning you can light up the 5th light spot is very likely because Zhao Bo took the wrong crystal ball." What the F asterisk CK? That's possible. It's really possible. Look at Zhao Bo's face. It's as if he ate SH asterisk T. Hearing that, the surrounding martial artists all turned their gazes to Zhao Bo. At this moment, Zhao Bo's heart was filled with mixed feelings, and he felt very uncomfortable. What that martial artist said earlier was right. He indeed felt as uncomfortable as if he ate SH asterisk T. To be precise, it was more uncomfortable than eating SH asterisk T. There were originally 50,000 transcendent grade essence crystals in the storage bag, and now he had to give Ningyu another 50,000. Adding it all up, it was 100,000. 100,000 transcendent grade essence crystals. Even if he went bankrupt, he could not take it out. Furthermore, the 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals in the storage pouch did not belong to him, but to Situan. If he handed it over to Ningyu now, when Situan came over, he would not be able to explain himself. If you're willing to bet, you must be willing to lose. Hand over the storage pouch and the 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Ningyu didn't care what Zhao Bo thought. He casually threw the crystal ball to Zhao Bo and said indifferently, "Pa." Holding the crystal ball steadily, Zhao Bo hurriedly sent a wisp of his soul power into it. After a while, Zhao Bo was dumbfounded. This was because the structure of the crystal ball had not changed at all. In other words, only when one soul power reached the 7th rank would he be able to light up the 5th light. How did Ningyu do it? Zhao Bo did not believe that Ningyu's soul force could reach the 7th grade. It was a trick. At this moment, such a thought appeared in Zhao Bo's mind. "Ningyu, you're cheating." Zhao Bo seemed to have found a life-saving straw and said coldly, "I'm more familiar with my crystal ball than anyone else. Unless one soul power reaches the 7th rank, it's impossible to light up the 5th light." Swoosh! As soon as Zhao Bo said this, it caused an uproar in the surroundings. Some things, it was better if everyone knew it. Once it was said, it would be different. After all this time, Zhao Bo is the one who has really lost his mind. He's a genuine big dumb C asterisk and T. He's definitely going to have to bear the title of dumb C asterisk and T. Actually dare to say that Ningyu is cheating? He already admitted that there's a problem with the crystal ball. The one who is cheating is naturally himself. No, that's not what I meant. Hearing the surrounding martial artist discussion, Zhao Bo also realized that he had let the cat out of the bag and hurriedly tried to salvage the situation. Swoosh! However, before Zhao Bo could finish his sentence, he saw a shadow scurrying past him. Hand over the remaining 50,000 pieces of supreme grade essence crystals. I'm not interested in wasting time here with a dumb C asterisk and T. Not far away, Ningyu kept the storage bag in his hand and said indifferently. Zhao Bo's eyes widened. Lowering his head to look at his waist, he then said hysterically, "Ningyu, that's my storage bag. What right do you have to take it away?" "It's not your storage pouch, it's my storage pouch." Ningyu said, "Stop bullshitting. Hurry up and take out the remaining 50,000 pieces of supreme grade essence crystals. I still have a hurry on my way." "All right, let me give you a friendly reminder." Ningyu seemed to have thought of something and said again, "As long as you have the confidence to resist the heavenly oath, you don't have to hand over the 50,000 pieces of supreme grade essence crystals to me. You." Zhao Bo's face was gloomy, his chest heaving up and down. Losing the bride and losing the soldiers. This time, he really went for wool and came home shorn, losing the bride and losing the soldiers. Not only did Ningyu take the 50,000 supreme grade essence crystal from his storage bag, but he also had to give Ningyu another 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Zhao Bo's heart was bleeding. Of course, bleeding was secondary. The most important thing was that Zhao Bo did not have 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Forget it. It seems like you want to resist the heavenly oath alone. Oh well, I won't stay here to watch you fight against the heavenly oath. Let's not meet again. Ningyu shrugged his shoulders. He then winked at Lu Wei and the rest before walking out of the alchemy union. Why don't you do me a favor and forget about what happened between you and Zhao Bo? However, just as Ning Yu arrived at the entrance of the alchemy union, he was blocked by a young man. The young man was around 24 or 25 years old. He was dressed in blue, and there was a hint of anger between his brows. Situwen, it's Situwen. This is going to be interesting. Situwen is the third most talented alchemist in the alchemy union. Not only is he a fifth realm alchemist, but he has also reached the peak of the Yuan Dan stage. I heard that when Situwen was in the advanced stage of the Yuan Dan stage, he was able to fight against a martial artist who was half a step into the yin-yang stage. Now that he has reached the peak of the Yuan Dan stage, doesn't that mean he can fight against a martial artist in the beginning stage of the yin-yang stage? Let's wait and see. I wonder if Ning Yu will give Situwen some face. Ning Yu sized up the young man in front of him, then frowned and said indifferently, "I can give you face." Hearing Ning Yu's words, Situwen's lips curled up. "Very well. If anything happens in the capital, you can." However, before Situwen could finish his sentence, his face darkened. "But is your face worth 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals?" Ning Yu changed the topic and said, "Zhao Bo owes me 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. In short, unless you help him pay back 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals, no one will be able to save face." Good, very good, very good, very, very good. Chapter 566. Battle of Melting Yuan Dan. Good, very good, very good. Very, very good. Ning Yu did not care about the fifth realm soul power that was attacking him and repeated what Situwen had said. "Hey, is there something wrong with you? Why do you have to say it so many times when you can say it in a few words?" Ning Yu said, "Let me give you a friendly reminder. Next time, when you're fighting with others, try not to talk nonsense like this. Because if you say one more word, someone might seize the opportunity to finish you off." How arrogant! How savage! Suddenly, Situwen seemed to have received some kind of order, so he stopped. After stopping, Situwen became unusually calm and was not affected by Ning Yu's words at all. Instead, he said, "Ning Yu, are you interested in making a bet with me?" "Not interested." Ning Yu didn't even think about it and refused. "My current interest is to quickly get the 50,000 transcendent grade essence crystals that Zhao Bo owes me." "You." Situwen suppressed the anger in his heart and said, "As long as you make a bet with me, I will pay back the 50,000 yuan crystals for Zhao Bo. This is not negotiable." Ning Yu rejected Situwen right away and said, "One sentence. First, give me back the 50,000 origin crystals that Zhao Bo owes me. Then we can talk about anything else." Swoosh. Hearing this, Situwen did not say anything more. He reached into his pocket and took out a storage bag. Situwen did not say anything more and threw the storage bag to Ning Yu. "Pack!" Ning Yu caught the storage bag and sent some of his soul power into it to check. After a while, Ning Yu retracted his soul power and nodded. "There are indeed 50,000 yuan crystals in there. What happened between me and Zhao Bo is over." With that, Ning Yu walked out of the alchemy union. "Ning Yu, where are you going?" Seeing that Ning Yu was about to leave, Situwen quickly said, "Of course, I'm leaving the Alchemist Association. Don't tell me I'm going to spend the new year here." Ning Yu waved his hand and said, "Whoosh." Situwen's eyes turned cold. He moved and stood in front of Ning Yu. "Didn't you say that as long as I help Zhao Bo pay back 50,000 Supreme Origin Crystals, you would agree to fight with me?" Situwen said coldly. He seemed to be very angry. "Why did you hear me say that?" Ning Yu stopped and said, "My exact words are, you return the 50,000 pieces of Supreme Grade Origin Crystals that Zhao Bo owes me, and then we'll talk about something else." "Then why did you leave?" Situwen said angrily. "It's very simple." Ning Yu stared at Situwen and said, "I don't want to talk about anything else right now. Can I just leave? Or should I say, your family owns the Alchemy Union and you can make the decisions?" "You're such a coward," Situwen said loudly. "As a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College, you don't even have the courage to fight with me." Ha ha ha. What a joke, what a joke. Idiot! Ningyu couldn't be bothered with Situ-1. He turned his head slightly and was about to leave from the other side. Oomph! Coward! If you dare to leave the Alchemy Union today, I will immediately spread the news that you are a coward, Situ-1 said coldly. Oh yes, you're not the only coward. The dean of the Sacred Institute, Dongfang Ji, is also a coward. And the people around you, they're all cowards. You're courting death. Hearing Situ-Win's arrogant words, before Ningyu could make a move, Li Tongtian's eyes flashed with ferocity. He immediately rose from the ground and charged towards Situ-Wen. Li Tongtian was extremely angry. His life was saved by Ningyu. Who did Situ-Wen think he was? How dare he say that Ningyu was a coward? Even though his aunt could tolerate it, his uncle could not. Furthermore, Situ-Wen was only the third most talented person in the Alchemy Union. His alchemy skills were not even as good as Li Tongtian's. Where did he get the courage to fight with Ningyu? A peak primal core martial artist dares to challenge me. Situ-Win's eyes turned cold. His right hand clenched into a fist, and it collided with Li Tongtian's fist. Pung! As the two fists collided, the two figures quickly retreated. Li Tongtian retreated all the way to the entrance of the Alchemy Union. He even stepped out of the Alchemy Union before he could stabilize himself. As for Situ-Wen, he only retreated 2 to 3 steps before he regained his balance. With this move, it was clear who was stronger. Since you want to die, I will grant you your wish. After this move, Situ-Wen did not stop. Instead, he charged forward once again. His fist carried a strong gust of yuan qi as it headed towards Li Tongtian's chest. Oomph! Seeing that Situ-Wen had attacked again, Ningyu snorted coldly. Then, he stomped on the ground and appeared in front of Li Tongtian. Piak! Ningyu raised his right hand and caught Situ-Wen's fist in his hand. Situ-Wen, it's just a bet with you. It's no big deal. I will accept it. As Ningyu grabbed Situ-Wen's fist, he said slowly, Tell me, what do you want to bet? With his fist in Ningyu's hand, Situ-Wen's expression was ugly. He channeled all his yuan qi into his fist in an attempt to break free from Ningyu's grasp. However, no matter how hard Situ-Wen tried, he could not break free from Ningyu's grasp. Even when he channeled all his yuan qi into his fist, he still could not retract his fist. Let's bet on alchemy. Situ-Wen gritted his teeth and said, Let's bet on refining the true martial elixir. Whoever can refine the true martial elixir first wins. Sigh. Hearing Situ-Wen's words, Ningyu sighed. What, you don't dare? Situ-Wen raised an eyebrow and said coldly, It's not that I don't dare. I just don't think refining the true martial elixir is interesting. Ningyu let go of his hand and said, In my opinion, why don't we exchange it for a fifth realm elixir? You want to refine a fifth realm elixir? Situ-Wen rolled his eyes and smirked. No problem. Let's refine the fifth realm elixir, the energy refining elixir. Also, whoever can refine the upper grade energy refining elixir first wins. What? They want to compete in refining the energy refining elixir. The energy refining elixir is a fifth realm elixir. It is a necessary elixir for a warrior at the peak of the martial realm to advance to the Yuan Dan realm. Even a normal sixth realm alchemist cannot say that they can refine the energy refining elixir, let alone the upper grade energy refining elixir. That's right. Even a sixth realm alchemist only has a 20% chance of refining the energy refining elixir. In fact, it was no wonder that the surrounding martial artists were shocked. Among these martial artists, most of them were alchemists, low-level alchemists. The energy refining elixir was a necessary elixir for a true martial realm martial artist to advance to the Yuan Dan realm. Situ-Wen actually said that whoever could refine the upper grade energy refining elixir first would win. Did Situ-Wen have the confidence to refine the upper grade energy refining elixir? For a moment, everyone's eyes were on Ningyu. They wanted to see if Ningyu would agree to Situ-Wen's bet. Chapter 567. Chapter 567, Giving Up the Competition. It's not impossible to make the energy transformation, Dan. Being stared at by so many people, Ningyu acted very calmly and said, "But there might be some problems with making the high realm energy transformation, Dan." Ha ha ha. Hearing this, Situwen let out a wild laugh towards the sky and said coldly, "If you're afraid, then say it. I can change it to a fifth realm, Dan." To Situwen, it was obvious that Ningyu was afraid and did not dare to compete with him in making the energy transformation, Dan. The surrounding warriors were not surprised at all. After all, the energy transformation Dan was extremely difficult to make. It was already good enough that Ningyu did not directly reject Situwen. "Hey, you might have misunderstood me." Ningyu sighed and said, "What I meant was, with the strength of your soul and your level of alchemy, it will take you a long time to make the high realm energy transformation, Dan. I don't have that much time to waste with you. It's simple. Let's not use the high realm energy transformation, Dan, as the key to victory. How about we use the low realm energy transformation, Dan?" As soon as he spoke, Ningyu stared at Situwen, quietly waiting for his reply. "Low realm energy transformation, Dan? Why would I be afraid of you?" Situwen said in a low voice, "Let's each prepare for 5 minutes. After 5 minutes, we will start making the energy transformation, Dan." "Wait," Ningyu said again. "What else do you want?" Situwen was very angry. After being messed around by Ningyu, his mood was in a mess. "What I need to prepare? You want to compete with me in making the energy transformation, Dan? Of course, you need to prepare the ingredients for me," Ningyu said matter-of-factly. "Also, if the conditions allow, you need to prepare a cauldron for me. As long as the quality is not too low, there are no hard and fast requirements." "You." Situwen clenched his teeth in anger. However, when he thought of how Ningyu would be defeated later, he forcefully suppressed the anger in his heart. With a flick of his sleeve, a storage bag was immediately thrown towards Ningyu. "Ha!" Ningyu caught the storage bag steadily and sent a bit of his perception into the storage bag. After a while, Ningyu withdrew his perception, nodded, and said, 3 sets of medicinal ingredients for refining the origin melting pill. Not bad. Looks like you're not stingy." "How can I be stingy? Not to mention 3 sets of ingredients for refining the soul melting pill, even if it was 8 or 10 sets. Situwen said proudly. Stop. However, before Situwen could finish his sentence, Ningyu hurriedly said, "I know you have a lot of ingredients and are rich and overbearing. Why don't you give me the cauldron first?" Oomph. Before he could finish, he was interrupted by Ningyu. Situwen coldly snorted and said to Zhao Bo, "Take out your pill furnace and let Ningyu use it." Zhao Bo was very reluctant. First, Ningyu made him lose face, and now he wanted to use his cauldron? But Situwen had spoken, so Zhao Bo had no choice but to obediently take out the cauldron and throw it to Ningyu. Taking the cauldron, Ningyu looked at it from top to bottom and curled his lips. "I can't believe that a 5th realm alchemist would use such a low-quality cauldron. I was unlucky this time. I will just have to make do with it." Zhao Bo almost spat out a mouthful of blood. His cauldron was ranked in the top 500 of the Earth ranking. How could Ningyu say it was a low-quality cauldron? The cauldrons on the Earth ranking were all low-quality cauldrons. To Ningyu, only the cauldrons on the Heaven ranking could be considered high-quality cauldrons. Situwen, take out your alchemy furnace and let everyone have a look. Let's see how different it is from the alchemy furnace in my hand. Ningyu shook the alchemy furnace in his hand and said to Situwen, "Damn it." Situwen did not expect Ningyu to do this and was stunned. He had 2 cauldrons in total. One was ranked 60th on the Earth ranking, and the other was only on the Mortal ranking. Originally, he wanted to use the cauldron on the Earth ranking. But after hearing Ningyu's words, he gritted his teeth and took out the cauldron on the Mortal ranking. "Ningyu, don't say that I am bullying you. The cauldron I am using now is even worse than the one in your hand. What do you have to say now?" Situwen said through gritted teeth. "Of course not." Ningyu shrugged and said, "It is your right to use whatever cauldron you want. I have no right to interfere." Damn it. If they were not at the Alchemy Union, Situwen would have wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson. In the current situation, if he were to teach Ningyu a lesson, he would definitely be cursed by everyone. After all, His martial arts strength was incomparable to Zhao Bo's. It could be said that he could fight 10 half-step yin-yang realm martial artists like Zhao Bo. Sigh. I can't believe that a genius of the Alchemy Union would say such an indecent word. Ningyu sighed again and waved his hand. Forget it. Let's hurry up and refine the essence conversion pill. I don't want to stay here for a second longer. Swoosh. As he spoke, Ningyu threw the cauldron above his head. At the same time, he separated some yuan qi to wrap around the bottom of the cauldron, supporting it to float in midair. Ningyu, let me tell you a very bad news. Situ went also through the cauldron in midair and sneered. During this period of time, I have been refining essence conversion pills every day. Low-grade essence conversion pills? I only need half an hour to refine them. Puff. Ningyu laughed out loud. Half an hour to refine low-grade essence conversion pills. Was that fast? One had to know that the last time Ningyu refined a transcendent grade essence conversion pill, it only took him 15 minutes. If he was refining low-grade essence conversion pills, Ningyu's speed might reach an abnormal level. Based on his initial estimation, he could refine a furnace of low-grade essence conversion pills in about 3 to 4 minutes. What is Ningyu laughing at? I don't know. Is he scared silly? It's hard to say. Situ one can refine low-grade essence conversion pills in half an hour. This level of alchemy, even many 6th-grade alchemists are ashamed of their inferiority. Refining low-grade essence conversion pills in half an hour. It seems that Situ one must have refined transcendent grade essence conversion pills before. Voila! The last martial artist's words directly caused an uproar. Transcendent grade essence conversion pill? That was a heaven-defying pill. If an ordinary martial artist at the peak of the true martial realm could get his hands on a transcendent grade essence conversion pill, he would basically be able to advance to the Yuan Dan realm. Ha ha ha. If you are afraid, you can admit defeat. I will make things difficult for you. The words of the surrounding martial artists made Situ one feel very comfortable. He first laughed wildly, then changed the topic and said sinisterly, however, you have to return Zhao Bo's storage bag and the 50,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals, and, speaking up to here, Situ one paused for a moment, then continued, you have to give up this alchemy competition. You want me to give up the alchemy competition? Ningyu hesitated for a moment, then said, that's right, you can only admit defeat if you give up participating in the alchemy competition. Chapter 568. Ningyu's Arrogance. Oh, if that's the case, should I thank you? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said, you don't have to thank me. All you have to do is to swear to the heavens and give up on the competition. Situ one waved his hand and said, I am not an unreasonable person. Plus, you're a guest. I will not make things difficult for you. Aren't you afraid of losing to me? Ningyu asked casually. Lose? Situ one pointed at his nose and laughed. In my mind, there is no such thing as losing. Can I ask you a question? Ningyu looked at Situ one and asked solemnly. What question? Situ one frowned and felt that something was wrong. You claim to have never been defeated. Why are you only ranked 3rd among the younger generation in the Alchemist Union? Although Ningyu's voice was not loud, all the cultivators in the Alchemy Association's main hall heard him clearly. In an instant, the way the surrounding martial artists looked at Situ one changed. Bragging was fine, but bragging too much was somewhat inexcusable. Crack! Situ one was extremely angry. Ningyu had exposed his shortcomings in front of so many people. How was he going to stand in the Alchemist Union in the future? It was true that he was ranked 3rd among the younger generation in the Alchemist Union. However, that was a few months ago. After a few months of training, he was confident that he could fight for the number 1 genius position in the Alchemist Union. Forget it. I don't have time to talk nonsense with you. Ningyu did not care about Situ one's anger. A blue flame appeared on the tip of his right hand and burned at the bottom of the cauldron. Energy Transformation Elixir was a peak grade 5 elixir. The temperature required to concoct it was very high. Although it was only a lower grade energy transformation elixir, Ningyu had to do it properly and not let the surrounding martial artists find out. Whoosh! Seeing that Ningyu had started to refine the pill, Situ did not dare to delay. He suppressed the anger in his heart and immediately threw a medicinal ingredient into the furnace. At the same time, Situ released his peak rank 5 soul power and sent it into the cauldron. He started to refine the herbs. Under normal circumstances, Situ would be able to refine a low-grade essence melting pill within half an hour. However, in order to make the low-tier essence melting Dan as soon as possible and make Ningyu lose completely, Situ decided to take the risk and increase his speed again. Whoosh! Whoosh! In the main hall of the Alchemy Union, Situ was extremely focused as he continuously threw ingredients into the furnace. On the other hand, Ningyu was calm and unhurried. Ningyu was not anxious, but Zhou Tong and Lu Wei were quite anxious. Feng Zi, at this rate, Ningyu might fail, Lu Wei said anxiously. That's right, Situ's speed has obviously increased. If I'm not wrong, in another 20 minutes, he will be able to refine a lower-grade energy transformation elixir. Zhou Tong looked at Ningyu, then looked at Situ and said worriedly, unless Ningyu speeds up, he will definitely fail. I believe in Ningyu. Feng Zi had already seen Ningyu's strength, and he was very confident in Ningyu. Don't worry, Ningyu's alchemy level is above mine. Li Tongtian was not worried at all. Firstly, his alchemy level was not as good as Ningyu's. Secondly, he could easily defeat Situ. If that was the case, Ningyu would easily defeat Situ. Above you, Zhou Tong was slightly taken aback and asked, "May I ask what grade are you?" Zhou Tong did not finish his sentence, but his meaning was clear. He wanted to ask what grade Li Tongtian was. Li Tongtian did not answer Zhou Tong directly. Instead, he separated a bit of his soul power and pressed it towards Zhou Tong. 5. Feeling Li Tongtian's monstrous soul power, Zhou Tong had just said one word when he saw the expressions of the surrounding martial artists. He hurriedly covered his mouth. So he's a peak 5th grade elixir master. Zhou Tong was extremely shocked in his heart, shocked to the extreme. Li Tongtian was a peak 5th grade elixir master, but he said that Ningyu could easily defeat him. Didn't that mean that Ningyu was a 6th grade elixir master? Thinking of this, Zhou Tong was really dumbfounded. In the past, when he was in Tianxin City, Ningyu was only strong in the martial Dao. He didn't expect that during this period in the capital, Ningyu's alchemy Dao level would also become so heaven-defying. No wonder he could become a core disciple of the Sacred Institute of Danwu College. Situ, how much longer do you have to complete the pill? While Ningyu was refining the energy transformation pill, he did not forget to tease Situ. I advise you to speed up because I'm almost done. Puffed. Situ could not help but laugh out loud. He said darkly, "There is no harm in telling you. I have at most 15 minutes to complete the pill. This means that you have 15 minutes to consider whether or not you want to admit defeat." You're still thinking about me admitting defeat? Ningyu was a little speechless. Situ was really possessed. Now, he still wanted him to admit defeat. I will definitely not admit defeat. Ningyu said, I am sorry, I still have 10 minutes to complete the pill. 10 minutes? If you can complete the pill in 10 minutes, I will twist my head off. No, if you can complete the pill in 10 minutes, I will give you another 50,000 supreme grade crystals. Situ raised his eyebrows and said coldly, Are you for real? Ningyu said in a clear voice. There was a bit of excitement in his tone. This trip to the Alchemy Union was definitely worth it. First, he saved Zhou Tong, and then won 100,000 transcendent grade essence crystals from Xiaobo. In addition to the 50,000 supreme grade origin crystals that Situ had promised, he had earned a total of 150,000 supreme grade origin crystals on this trip. He had really earned back everything. Really, Situ said in a deep voice, 10 minutes. As long as you can refine the energy transformation pill in the next 10 minutes, I will give you another 50,000 supreme grade crystals. What's the harm? Ha ha ha, Situ, remember what you said. Ningyu laughed and threw the rest of the ingredients into the furnace. At the same time, he increased the flame and kept burning the furnace. Chi-chi. With the increase of Ningyu's flame, The herbs that had just been thrown into the furnace were quickly burned to ashes. Ningyu's soul force had long entered the furnace. At this moment, he was quickly refining and compressing the medicinal liquid. Seeing Ningyu's swift movements, the surrounding warriors, including Sita-1, were all dumbfounded and confused. Ningyu, who was so slow just now, suddenly became like a different person. Why did his refining speed increase so much? Lost, Sita-1 lost. In a room on the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, the black-robed old man murmured, Situ-Win's loss is not undeserved. Compared to Ningyu, his refining level might not be much worse, but his mentality is much worse. Chapter 569. Gulp. Gulp. Ningyu's crazy actions caused Situ-Wen to be stunned. Situ-Wen even swallowed a mouthful of saliva. His Dan almost exploded. Ningyu can't have really made the energy refining pill for Situ-Wen first, right? It's hard to say. At this rate, Ningyu will be able to form the pill in less than 10 minutes. That's right. In my opinion, the energy refining pill in Ningyu's cauldron is most likely not low grade. Not low grade? Then what rank is the energy refining pill? An alchemist asked. Middle grade. It might even be high grade. Voila! Hearing this, the surrounding cultivators widened their eyes, their faces filled with disbelief. High-grade energy refining pill? Ningyu could actually make a high-grade energy refining pill. And in such a short period of time. This was the most ridiculous. At that moment, everyone's gaze shifted to Ningyu, wanting to see if Ningyu could make a high-grade energy refining pill. Damn it! Everyone's attention was on Ningyu. Situ-Wen was furious, but there was nothing he could do. Now, he could only pray that Ningyu would fail while refining the energy refining pill. It would be best if the pill explodes. Situ-Wen thought to himself. Look, Ningyu is about to form the pill. Situ-Wen's curse did not have the slightest effect. Someone shouted. Even the martial artists outside the Alchemy Union stopped and looked at the Alchemy Hall. Situ-Wen, I might have to be one step ahead of you. While Ningyu was forming the pill, he did not forget to look at Situ-Wen and smiled. Prepare 50,000 Supreme Yuan crystals. I have a special characteristic. I want to get what I win as soon as possible. Humph. That will have to wait until you make. What? Situ-Wen snorted coldly. It was obvious that he was being stubborn. As expected, before he could finish his sentence, a look of horror appeared on his face. Bang! Ningyu slammed his palm on the pill furnace, directly smashing the pill lid open. Shio! At the same time, a pill flew out from the pill furnace. Ningyu's eyes were sharp, and he quickly grabbed the elixir in his hand. It hasn't even been 10 minutes, and Ningyu has already completed the pill? That's way too perverted. Humph. Who knows, the medicinal pill in Ningyu's hand might not be an essence transformation pill, but a trash pill, Zhao Bo said with a cold snort. He did not believe that Ningyu really refined an essence transformation pill. Idiot. At the side, Li Tongtian glanced at Zhao Bo and said, To think that you're a 5th-grade alchemist. You can't even differentiate the scent of the primary melting pill. You. Zhao Bo was furious to be called an idiot by Li Tongtian. He took a step forward, wanted to teach Li Tongtian a lesson. Zhao Bo was half a step into the yin-yang realm, while Li Tongtian was only at the pinnacle of the primal core realm. Based on cultivation alone, Li Tongtian might not be a match for Zhao Bo. In reality, Li Tongtian could defeat Zhao Bo with ease. Bang! As expected, Li Tongtian threw out a punch, and it collided with Zhao Bo's fist with no way to avoid it. A crisp sound rang out. Zhao Bo was forced back several feet, only stabilizing himself when he reached the edge of the hall. You said that Ningyu refined a trash pill. What proof do you have? Compared to Zhao Bo's situation, Li Tongtian was in a much better state. He shrugged and said, Only someone like you would slander someone without proof. Sigh, Li Tongtian, don't be so sure. At this moment, Ningyu took a step forward and said, Let him see if the pill in my hand is a trash pill. The next moment, Ningyu opened his palm slowly. Swoosh! This action of Ningyu immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding martial artists. Everyone turned to look at Ningyu's palm, wanting to see if Ningyu had refined a trash pill. Although Situwen did not show it on the surface, he was extremely nervous on the inside. He could not afford to lose again. More accurately speaking, he could not afford to lose again. The 100,000 primal crystals that Zhao Bo had lost to Ningyu were all his. If he lost again, he would have to give Ningyu 50,000 primal crystals. Now, he only had 30,000 primal crystals on him. If he lost again, where would he get the remaining 20,000 primal crystals? Therefore, he was constantly praying in his heart, praying that Ningyu was refining a useless pill. Whoosh! Following the exclamations of the surrounding martial artists, Situwen knew that he had lost. He had lost completely. What? It's not an inferior grade essence transformation pill. Although he knew that he had lost, Situwen still wanted to see what grade of essence transformation pill Ningyu had refined. When he saw the round pill in Ningyu's hand, his mouth opened wide enough to fit a fist. High-grade essence transformation pill. The quality of the essence transformation pill in Ningyu's hand had reached the high-grade level. Sarcasm, this was definitely Feng Zi. Situwen felt his face burning, and he felt extremely uncomfortable. At the beginning, he had said to Ningyu that they would compete in refining high-grade essence transformation pills. Ningyu felt that it was a waste of time and requested to refine low-grade essence transformation pills instead. At that time, he had even laughed at Ningyu, thinking that Ningyu could not refine high-grade essence transformation pills. Looking at it now, it was really a form of sarcasm. That, Situwen, do you want to check this essence transformation pill? Ningyu did not care what Situwen was thinking. He only cared about his 50,000 primal crystals. There's no need to check. You are refining high-grade essence transformation pills. Situwen felt very bitter in his heart. After saying that, he felt as if his body had been hollowed out. Then what are you waiting for? If you're willing to bet, you must accept your loss. Take out 50,000 primal crystals. Ningyu did not give Situwen any face and said directly, I will naturally give you the primal crystals, but not now. Situwen's eyes flickered, and he said in a low voice, Tomorrow, during the alchemy competition tomorrow, I will personally hand over 50,000 primal crystals to you. Are you King kidding me? Ningyu frowned, and his tone gradually became cold. If you don't have primal crystals, why are you betting with me? Do you think that this is the Alchemy Union and I dare not do anything to you? 50,000 transcendent grade essence crystals was not a small sum to the current Ningyu. Furthermore, Ningyu did not believe that Situwen did not have 50,000 primal crystals. I will give you the primal crystals tomorrow, Situwen said coldly. Why do you have to force me? I'm a member of the Alchemy Union. Can I run away? Ningyu stared at Situwen seriously, then nodded and said, That's possible. I'm really afraid that you'll run away. Come to the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. I will repay 50,000 primal crystals on behalf of Situwen. Suddenly, a voice rang out in the hall. The voice paused for a moment and continued. As long as you can come to the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, not only will I return the 50,000 primal crystals that Situwen lost to you, I will also allow you to enter the second round. Chapter 570. For swoosh. The sudden voice in the hall made the surrounding martial artists dumbfounded. The 8th floor of the Alchemy Union? Only the higher-ups of the Alchemy Union could go there. Could it be that the martial artist who just spoke was one of the higher-ups of the Alchemy Union? Thinking of this, all the cultivators in the hall looked at Ningyu in unison, wanting to see how Ningyu would react. However, Ningyu's reaction was beyond everyone's expectations. Situwen, how many supreme grade essence crystals do you have? Ningyu did not want to stay here any longer. Naturally, he did not want to go to the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. What Ningyu cared about now was whether he could get some supreme grade essence crystals from Situwen. That was the most important thing. As for whether or not he could get the privilege to enter the second round of the competition, Ningyu did not care. The voice was right. With Ningyu's alchemy skills, he could definitely enter the second round. Ningyu didn't know who the martial artist was, but Situ Wen clearly knew. If not for the fear of exposing the identity of the martial artist, Situ Wen would have exploded. Even so, Situ Wen said coldly, "I will keep my word. Tomorrow, I will give you 50,000 supreme grade essence crystals." You keep your word. What does that have to do with me? Ningyu did not give Situ Wen any face and said, "Stop talking nonsense. Take out all the supreme grade essence crystals you have. We will talk about the rest tomorrow." I'm so angry. As the third most talented genius in the Alchemy Union, Situ Wen had never been bullied like this before. First, he lost to Ningyu in alchemy. Now, he was being mocked by Ningyu. He could not take it anymore. Since he couldn't tolerate it, Situ Wen wouldn't tolerate it anymore. He wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson. Swoosh! In the next moment, Situ Wen stomped on the ground and dashed towards Ningyu like a leopard. Situ Wen dared to attack Ningyu? What's there to be afraid of? Ningyu doesn't give him any face at all. If it were me, I would also go berserk. No matter what, Situ Wen is the one who owes Ningyu the transcendent grade Yuan crystal. Now that Situ Wen has done this, he has really lost the face of the Alchemy Union. That's true. Situ Wen's actions are indeed a bit unkind. Seeing Situ Wen launch an attack on Ningyu, the surrounding warriors burst into discussion. These discussions did not affect Situ Wen. At this time, there was only one thought in his mind, and that was to teach Ningyu a lesson. Let Ningyu know why flowers are so red. Courting death. Even a clay figurine had a temper, let alone Ningyu. Situ Wen owed him origin crystals and dared to attack him. After a cold grunt, the Yuan Qi in Ningyu's mind rushed out and wrapped around his wrist. In the next moment, Ningyu threw out a punch, and it collided with Situ Wen's fist. Crack! The moment the two fists collided, a crisp sound rang out in the hall. Accompanying this crisp sound was a scream that sounded like a pig being slaughtered. What? This is impossible. Situ Wen is at the pinnacle of the primal core stage, and his actual strength is close to the beginner stage of the yin-yang stage. How could he not even withstand one blow from Ningyu? Isn't Ningyu a little too insane? Situ Wen's defeat made the surrounding martial artists somewhat dumbfounded. In their eyes, Situ Wen was one of the most powerful warriors of the younger generation in the capital. In terms of martial arts, he was at least in the top 10. However, Situ Wen, who was in the top 10, could not even withstand one blow from Ningyu. Furthermore, looking at Ningyu, it did not seem like he had used his full strength. He was still holding back. It was obvious that Ningyu still had some strength left. It was not hard to imagine that if Ningyu used his full strength, Situ Wen would probably die. Swoosh! Ningyu came to Situ Wen's side and started searching his body in front of everyone. After a while, Ningyu retracted his hand. In his hand was a storage bag. Not bad. There are 30,000 supreme grade Yuan crystals. Ningyu released his senses and scanned the storage bag. He then nodded and said, "I hope you will give me the remaining 20,000 supreme grade Yuan crystals on time tomorrow." As he spoke, Ningyu kept the storage bag and gave Lu Wei and the rest a look before walking out of the Alchemy Union. It seems like my words are no longer effective since I have not been in the capital for so many years. As soon as Ningyu stepped out of the Alchemy Union, a chuckle rang out in the hall. Hearing the chuckle, Ningyu retracted his leg. An expert. An absolute expert. Previously, Ningyu was not sure what the cultivation level of the martial artist on the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union was, so he did not answer him. Now that he heard the chuckle, Ningyu was finally sure that the martial artist cultivation level was at least at the peak yin-yang realm. It was even possible that he had reached the peak yin-yang realm like old he. With Ningyu's current strength, he would only be defeated if he faced a peak yin-yang realm martial artist. There was no way he could fight back. After all, the alchemy master was not around and the red demon sword was advancing. Ningyu's strength had dropped by at least 50%. I've thought about it. Although he was extremely shocked, Ningyu did not show it. Instead, he said calmly, "I can ask for the supreme Yuan crystals that Situ Wen owes me tomorrow. As for allowing me to enter the second round of the alchemy competition, I thank you for your kind intentions." You mean that you have to enter the third round? The voice from the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union sounded again. That's not necessary. I want to rely on my own strength to enter the third round or even the finals, Ningyu said. You have character. I will wait for you on the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. Swoosh, swoosh. The moment the voice fell, two figures flew out from the 2nd floor of the Alchemy Union and charged at Lu Wei at an astonishing speed. Damn it! Feeling the powerful aura from the two martial artists, Ningyu's face changed drastically. He quickly stood in front of Lu Wei and threw out two punches. Swoosh! However, just as Ningyu threw out his fist, his face changed drastically. He realized that the two figures had turned around and grabbed Zhou Tong and Feng Zi respectively. They were heading towards the 2nd floor of the Alchemy Union. Swoosh! The sudden change caused Ningyu to be slightly dumbfounded, creating a diversion. He did not expect that the two martial artists would play this trick on him. However, even if Ningyu had thought of it, it would be difficult for him to block the two advanced Yin-Yang realm martial artists playing this trick. 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. See you there. At this moment, the voice from the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union sounded. Oh yes, the condition is that you must enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. If you can't, I'm sorry to say that you can only wait until tomorrow to see your two friends. Chapter 571. Strip Bare a Threat. A blatant threat. A threat from the higher-ups of the Alchemy Union. Ningyu's expression was extremely ugly. He never expected that the Alchemy Union would make such a move against him. After kidnapping Zhou Tong and Feng Zi, he had to go to the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union no matter what. Go, why don't you go? Why aren't you leaving now? At this moment, Situ-Wen laughed sinisterly. The doors of the Alchemy Union are always open. You can leave now. No one will stop you. Crack, crack. Ningyu was already very frustrated. Situ-Wen's actions were undoubtedly adding fuel to the fire. Ningyu clenched his fists tightly and rose from the ground. In an instant, he was beside Situ-Wen. Pung! The punch brought with it a violent yuan-chi wind. Before Situ-Wen could even react, the punch had already landed on his chest. The huge force from his chest caused Situ-Wen to taste sweetness in his throat. At the same time, his body flew out of the Alchemy Union like a kite with a broken string. Crack! Situ-Wen's body was rather tough. He had the upper hand in the collision with the ground, causing the limestone floor to crack. Li Tong Tian, I need to trouble you with something. After knocking Situ-Wen back, Ningyu turned around and said, Situ-Wen owes me 20,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. Go and see if he has any magical treasures or elixirs. Take them all. Oh yes, even his clothes. Understood. Li Tong Tian had long been unhappy with Situ-Wen. Now that he heard Ningyu's words, he responded and slowly walked towards Situ-Wen. What are you trying to do? Don't come over. Seeing Li Tong Tian approaching him, Situ-Wen shouted, This is the Alchemy Union, you can't. All right. You've said this more than 10 times. What's the point of saying it again? Li Tong Tian interrupted Situ-Wen and said calmly, Moreover, this is not the Alchemy Union. With that, Li Tong Tian left the Alchemy Union and came to Situ-Wen's side. It seems like Situ-Wen has been beaten silly. Doesn't he know that he has been kicked out of the Alchemy Union by Ningyu? That's right, Situ-Wen is at the entrance of the Alchemy Union. Even if that Li Tong Tian strips him naked, it has nothing to do with the Alchemy Union. I won't go as far as stripping him naked. To deal with this kind of person who adds insult to injury, I'll just strip him down to his underwear. He, the third-ranked genius among the younger generation of the Alchemy Union. If he were to be stripped to his underwear today, how would he be able to establish himself in the capital? Looking up at Li Tong Tian, who was just inches away from him, Situ-Wen's eyes were filled with despair. Hurry up. We still have to go to the 8th floor of the Alchemy Association later. Ningyu frowned as he urged Li Tong Tian to speed up. Whoosh! Just as Ningyu finished speaking, Li Tong Tian used both his hands and feet to tear off Situ-Wen's clothes. Naturally, Situ-Wen let out a blood-curdling scream like a pig being slaughtered. Indignant. Situ-Wen was extremely indignant. An extremely vicious look appeared in his eyes, and he secretly made up his mind to make Ningyu regret it no matter what method he had to use. He is indeed a poor bastard. No wonder he can't afford the 50,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. Li Tongtian's movements were swift as he quickly stripped Situ when down to his underwear. At the same time, there was a storage bag in Li Tongtian's hand. Inside the storage bag were the spoils of war that he had obtained from Situ. Ningyu, are you sure you want to use these items to exchange for the remaining 20,000 supreme grade yuan crystals? Li Tongtian came to Ningyu's side and waved the storage bag in his hand as he asked. I am different from some people. I am a gentleman, and I am a man of my word. Ningyu glanced at Situ who was standing outside the Alchemy Union and said calmly, From now on, the debt between me and a certain someone is written off. After finishing his sentence, Ningyu walked towards the second level of the Alchemy Union without looking back, leaving behind a dumbfounded crowd. Situ, in particular, had a look of despair on his face. Ningyu is a gentleman? If Ningyu was a gentleman, then everyone in the capital was a gentleman. Would a gentleman do something like strip another person naked? The answer was obviously no. Ningyu, are we really going to the 8th level of the Alchemy Union? At the entrance of the second level of the Alchemy Union, Li Tongtian asked hesitantly, What I mean is, are we just going to go there like this? If we don't go there like this, how else can we go there? Ningyu shrugged his shoulders and stepped into the second level of the Alchemy Union. Halt! However, just as Ningyu's right foot stepped into the second level of the Alchemy Union, a voice rang in his ear. Shortly after, a middle-aged man gradually appeared in front of Ningyu. Seeing the sudden appearance of the middle-aged man, Ningyu was stunned for a moment. Then, he lifted his left foot and entered the second level of the Alchemy Union. Seeing Ningyu's actions, the middle-aged man's face turned gloomy. The middle-aged man still had some self-restraint and did not lose his temper immediately. Instead, he said in a deep voice, This is the second level of the Alchemy Union. Only martial artists whose soul power has reached the second grade are allowed to enter. Come and test your soul power. The middle-aged man took out a crystal ball. It was clearly used to test one's soul power. I'm a very upright person. As long as you light up the second spot on the crystal ball, you can enter the second level of the Alchemy Union, the middle-aged man said as he passed the crystal ball to Ningyu. I'll pry my ass. Ningyu took over the crystal ball and said in an annoyed tone. Ningyu did not believe that the middle-aged man did not know what happened on the first level of the Alchemy Union. He could even light up the 5th spot on Zhao Bo's crystal ball. Could it be that his soul power had not reached the second grade? This was unreasonable. Although he was a little angry, Ningyu did not take it to heart. Instead, he placed his right hand on the crystal ball and easily lit up the second spot. Swoosh! After lighting up the spot, Ningyu casually threw the crystal ball to the middle-aged man. Pah! However, the middle-aged man did not seem to have any intention of catching the crystal ball. Instead, he exerted a little force and pushed the crystal ball back to Ningyu. What is the meaning of this? Ningyu said in a deep voice. Nothing much. It's just the butt of a turtle. Rules. The middle-aged man shrugged his shoulders and said, All martial artists who enter the second level of the Alchemy Union must have their soul power checked. Otherwise, they are not allowed to enter. Very well. Ningyu did not argue with the middle-aged man. Instead, he threw the crystal ball to Li Tongtian. Li Tongtian's soul power was not much weaker than Ningyu's. Lighting up the second spot was naturally a piece of cake for him. As for Lu Wei, her soul power had also reached the 3rd grade. She easily lit up the second spot. Let me give you a friendly reminder. Chapter 572. 2 Cauldrons. The middle-aged man left Ningyu with a back view as he headed towards the 3rd floor of the Alchemy Union. Ningyu, if you can't do it, I will wait for you here. You can go to the 8th level of the Union first. Hearing the middle-aged man's words, Lu Wei thought for a moment and said, Nonsense. Ningyu's tone turned cold as he scolded. I will stop you. You just need to follow me obediently. You don't have to worry about anything else. Leaving Lu Wei here alone? What a joke. Ningyu would never do such a stupid thing. Fengzi and Zhoutong were both brought to the 8th level of the Union. It was not hard to imagine that if Lu Wei stayed here, she would definitely be brought to the 8th level. Ningyu had already seen the temper of the higher management of the Union. He did not want to take the risk. All right, Lu Wei's heart warmed. Since Ningyu said so, she did not say anything else and followed closely behind Ningyu. After a while, Ningyu and the rest arrived at the entrance of the 3rd level of the Union. F*CK. Ningyu raised his head to look at the man at the entrance of the 3rd level, and his mouth gaped as he said, "Why is it you again?" It's still me." The middle-aged man revealed a standard smile. Ignoring the confusion in Ningyu's eyes, he took out the crystal ball again and said, "It's the same principle. As long as you can light up the 3rd dot, you can enter the 3rd floor of the Alchemy Union." Ningyu glanced at the middle-aged man suspiciously and carefully lit up the 3rd light spot in the crystal ball. Lu Xuan and Li Tongtian followed suit and lit up the 3rd spot as well. "Let me give you a friendly reminder." The middle-aged man kept the crystal ball and said, "The 4th level of the Union." Stop. I know what you want to say." Ningyu interrupted the middle-aged man and said, "I don't want to know the conditions to enter the 4th level." "Excuse me." The middle-aged man was taken aback. Then, he moved his feet and opened up a path. Ningyu held Lu Wei's hand and walked past the middle-aged man. "Although you have this kind of attitude towards me, I still have to kindly remind you, alchemy." After being stunned for a moment, the middle-aged man said in a clear voice. However, before he could finish his sentence, he saw Ningyu stop at the entrance of the 4th floor of the Alchemy Union. "I wish you good luck," the middle-aged man muttered to himself before disappearing. "To enter the 4th floor of the Alchemist Association, I need to fulfill 2 conditions." The guard on the 4th floor was obviously more reliable than the middle-aged man. He went straight to the point and said, "First, your soul force must reach the 4th grade. Second, you must refine a true martial pellet in front of me." Whoosh! Hearing this, Ningyu's expression turned a little ugly. He and Li Tongtian could easily refine a true martial pellet. However, Lu Wei's soul force was only at the early phase of the 3rd grade. How could she possibly refine a true martial pellet? In other words, no matter what condition it was, Lu Wei could not fulfill any of them. What if I insist on entering the 4th floor? Ningyu's face darkened. Smack! It's simple. The guard at the entrance snapped his fingers and said, "You can replace this lady to refine a true martial pellet." However, at this point, the guard paused for a moment, then continued, "Since her soul power is not strong enough to reach the 4th level, and she can't refine a true martial pill, you need to refine a supreme, true martial pill to be qualified." That's simple? Ningyu raised an eyebrow in confusion. Simple? That's a true martial pellet. The guard flicked his sleeves, and a storage pouch flew towards Ningyu. Seeing that Ningyu caught the storage pouch, the guard said, 2 batches of true martial pellets. Refine them within 10 minutes. As soon as he finished his sentence, the guard found a chair and sat down. He crossed his legs and stared at Ningyu. Based on Ningyu's alchemy skills, it was not difficult to refine a true martial pellet within 10 minutes. However, the most important thing was that Ningyu had to refine 2 batches of true martial pellets within 10 minutes. That would be more difficult. I wonder what kind of trouble Ningyu will encounter at the entrance of the 4th floor of the Union. Needless to say, they will definitely make things difficult for him. If it's just a simple test of soul force, Ningyu can at least enter the 5th floor of the Union. No, it should be the 7th floor. In the main hall of the Union, many martial artists were in heated discussion. They could still see what happened to Ningyu on the 2nd and 3rd floor of the Alchemist Union. Ever since Ningyu arrived at the entrance of the Union's 4th floor, no one could see Ningyu's figure. Based on what had happened before, everyone guessed that Ningyu could enter the Union's 4th floor. It's not that easy to enter the Union's 4th floor. At this moment, Situ went and found a shirt and put it on. He snorted and said, "If you want to enter the 4th floor, you need to fulfill 2 conditions." "What conditions?" Some martial artists who did not understand asked. "First, your soul force must be at least grade 4. I do not deny that Ningyu can fulfill this condition, but the girl beside him cannot. Situ said gloomily. Second, he must refine a furnace of true martial Dan. I do not deny that Ningyu can do it, but I will say the same thing. The woman beside him cannot do it. Is there any way to fix it? A grade 3 alchemist asked. Of course there is. Situ smiled and said coldly. Within 10 minutes, refine a true martial pellet. Whoosh. As soon as Situ said this, the surrounding martial artists let out a series of exclamations. Refine a true martial pellet in 10 minutes? It seemed that with Ningyu's alchemy skills, it was not difficult to do so. After all, Ningyu could refine a high-grade essence melting pellet in 10 minutes. He should be able to refine a true martial pellet. Don't be too optimistic. I have one more thing to say. Situ said again. Ningyu needs to refine 2 batches of true martial pellets in 10 minutes. Only then can he enter the Union's 4th floor. What? Refine 2 batches of true martial pellets in 10 minutes. In other words, Ningyu needs 5 minutes to refine a batch of true martial pellets? Isn't this too ridiculous? That's right. Even a grade 6 alchemist would find it difficult to refine a batch of true martial pellets in 5 minutes. In fact, it was no wonder that the surrounding martial artists were shocked. They were all alchemists, so they naturally knew how difficult it was to refine a true martial pellet. Maybe Ningyu could refine a batch of true martial pellets in 10 minutes. But to refine a batch of true martial pellets in 5 minutes was more difficult than reaching the sky. After all, these martial artists did not know about Ningyu's feat when he was fighting against Yi Tian in Danwu College. When you leave helplessly later, I will humiliate you ruthlessly. Chapter 573. Ren Xiangtian's Bet Swoosh. At the same time, at the entrance to the 4th floor of the Union, Ningyu looked at the guard who was crossing his legs and frowned. Is there any strict requirement for me to refine 2 sets of supreme grade true martial pills within 10 minutes? Strict requirement? The guard raised an eyebrow and asked doubtfully. What I mean is, you want me to refine a few supreme grade true martial pills, Ningyu said. A few supreme grade true martial pills? If you can refine 2 supreme grade true martial pills within 2 sets of pills, you will pass, the guard said in disdain. If that's the case, if I can refine 2 supreme grade true martial pills within 1 set of pills, does that mean I win as well? Ningyu did not mind the guard's disdain and said calmly, Ha ha ha. The guard at the entrance to the 4th level roared with laughter when he heard Ningyu, and then he said coldly, Have you lost your mind? Fine. Since you're courting death yourself, you can't blame me. I don't care what method you use, as long as you can refine 2 supreme grade true martial pills within 10 minutes. You will be able to enter the 4th floor of the Union. After getting the confirmation, Ningyu ignored the guard and turned to Li Tongtian. Lend me an alchemy cauldron. I want to refine the true martial pills. Hold on. Before Li Tongtian could take out his alchemy cauldron, the guard at the entrance said, Ningyu, I'm giving you a chance. The lady next to you is only a 3rd grade alchemist. With her ability, she won't even be able to enter the 5th or 6th floor, let alone the 8th floor. If you can refine 1 set of supreme grade true martial pills within 10 minutes, I will give you special permission to enter the 7th floor of the Union. As soon as the guard finished speaking, he looked at Ningyu and quietly waited for Ningyu's reply. Special permission to enter the 7th floor? Ningyu was slightly stunned when he heard this, and then he said, Is that true? Of course. The guard nodded. No problem. I agree to your request. With that, Ningyu ignored the guard and poured out all the medicinal ingredients in his storage bag. Seeing Ningyu's actions, Li Tongtian hurriedly flicked his sleeves and retrieved a pill furnace for Ningyu. The alchemy furnace that Li Tongtian had given to Ningyu wasn't of a high quality. In fact, it wasn't even on the Earth list of alchemy furnaces. For Ningyu, any kind of alchemical furnace was the same. In any case, he had already refined the true martial Dan many times, so his requirements for the alchemical furnace were not that high. Moreover, for him, in 10 minutes, he could easily refine a batch of transcendent grade true martial Dan. Ningyu threw the alchemy furnace on top of his head. His left and right hands worked at the same time, grabbing the herbs, and throwing them into the alchemy furnace. Whoosh! While Ningyu was refining the true martial Dan in a room on the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, there were a total of 3 martial artists in the room. Other than the old man in black, there were 2 other young martial artists. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely recognize that one of the young martial artists was none other than Ren Xiangtian. Look, Ningyu defeated Situ one with ease. In this alchemy competition, he will definitely be your strongest opponent. The old man in black pointed to the crystal wall and said, "Know yourself and know your enemy, and you will never miss a battle." Take a good look and see if Ningyu can refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan in 10 minutes. President Peng Zhou, back at Tianyuan Tower, Ningyu and I were competing to see who could refine the transcendent grade true martial Dan first. Looking at the projection on the crystal wall, Ren Xiangtian said, "At that time, Ningyu seemed to have spent less than 10 minutes to refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan." Oomph. Ren Xiangtian, don't flatter others and belittle yourself. Before the old man in black could say anything, another young martial artist next to Ren Xiangtian snorted and said, "If Ningyu can refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan in 10 minutes, I will give you the soul-nourishing pill I got last time. If Ningyu can't refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan in 10 minutes, I will take your upper grade heaven grade flying sword." "Fine, Zhao Kuo. Don't think I'm afraid of you," Ren Xiangtian said coldly. He did not believe that Ningyu would lose. "Ha ha ha, I was fooled." The corner of Zhao Kuo's mouth curved up as he let out a wild laugh and said, "Not to mention Ningyu, even President Peng can't guarantee that he can concoct a supreme grade true martial pill within 10 minutes. Zhao Kuo added, "Oh, that's right. We'll use the medicinal ingredients Ningyu has." "President Peng, what the hell is going on?" Ren Xiangtian asked in confusion. "There's something wrong with the medicine that Ningyu has, and it was me who ordered him to do it." Peng Zhou waved his hand and said, "It's impossible to refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan with that medicine. Even I can't do it." "What do you think, Ren Xiangtian? Don't say that I'm bullying you. It's not too late for you to back out now." Zhao Kuo looked at Ren Xiangtian provocatively. "Humph. Since I promised you, I won't go back on my word." Ren Xiangtian snorted. "You're so stubborn. I'll make you cry later." Zhao Kuo laughed coldly, as if Ren Xiangtian's upper-grade, heaven-ranked flying sword was already in his possession. "What the F***CK? I'll just pretend that my upper-grade flying sword was stolen by a dog." Ren Xiangtian was extremely frustrated. At the same time, Ren Xiangtian had some complaints about Peng Zhou. After all, Peng Zhou didn't tell him when he made the bet with Zhao Kuo, and only told him after he agreed. Wasn't he trying to set him up? However, Peng Zhou was the president of the Alchemy Union, so he dared not say anything. "Fight with me? Don't you know what relationship I have with Peng Zhou? I'm his only disciple," Zhao Kuo said darkly. Whoosh! At that moment, at the entrance of the 4th floor of the Alchemy Union, Ningyu gradually increased his speed. Within 3 minutes, he had thrown all the medicinal ingredients into the furnace. At the same time, Ningyu increased the intensity of the flame, burning the bottom of the furnace. "Li Tongtian, do you think Ningyu can refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan in 10 minutes? Lu Wei looked at Ningyu worriedly and asked hesitantly. Lu Wei did not know what happened at Tianyuan Hotel, so she was worried about whether Ningyu could refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan. "Don't worry, 10 minutes is more than enough." Lu Wei did not know about Ningyu's feat, but Li Tongtian was well aware of it. From Li Tongtian's point of view, it was hard to find a young alchemist who could beat Ningyu in alchemy in such a big city. Even with those genius alchemists who lived in seclusion, Ningyu could still be ranked in the top 3 and was a strong contender for first place. But Lu Wei wanted to say something, but she saw Fur Ball poking its head out from her arms. Woof woof. Chapter 574. Swoosh. True text, pill the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. Peng Zhou frowned. He could see a hint of disdain in Furball's eyes. How could a dog show such a human-like expression? Peng Zhou was confused. President Peng, what kind of dog is that? I think I saw disdain in its eyes. Zhao Kuo looked at the crystal on the wall and asked. Although Peng Zhou was Zhao Kuo's master, he had made it clear that Zhao Kuo could only call him President Peng when there were outsiders around. Zhao Kuo could only call him master when there were no outsiders around. Now that Ren Xiangtian was here, Zhao Kuo could only call him President Peng Zhou. Is that dog a spirit? It's scary to be uneducated. Ren Xiangtian curled his lips and said, You call yourself a genius in the Union, but you can't even tell a normal dog apart. Who are you calling uneducated? Zhao Kuo roared. All right, no matter if Ning you can make a supreme, true martial pill or not, I will allow him to enter the 8th floor. Peng Zhou waved his hand and said, Zhao Kuo will guard the entrance to the 8th floor, and you will test Ning Yu yourself. You can take a good look at that dog. Then, Peng Zhou found a chair and sat down, closing his eyes to rest. Seeing that Peng Zhou had sat down, Zhao Kuo looked at Ren Xiangtian provocatively and said, I will show you who is the uneducated one. Ren Xiangtian ignored Zhao Kuo and focused his attention on the wall. There, Ningyu sped up again. Something's not right. Suddenly, Ningyu sensed something and sent a wisp of his soul force into a herb. Damn it! Ningyu cursed inwardly when he felt the composition of the herbs. His heart sank to the bottom. 5 elements flower. There was a key ingredient to making a true martial pill, and that was the 5 elements flower. Normally, the 5 elements flower was not a problem. After all, it was cheap, and the market price was only 1 low-grade yuan crystal. However, the 5 elements flower was the key ingredient to making a true martial pill, so it was indispensable. The medicinal power of the 5 elements flower has been extracted. This 5 elements flower is useless. Ningyu took a deep breath, turned to look at the smiling guard, and murmured, Without the 5 elements flower, how can I refine the transcendent true martial Dan? Ningyu's eyes darted around as he tried to think of a countermeasure. Without the 5 elements flower, ordinary people might think that the refining of the true martial Dan would definitely fail, but in Ningyu's heart, he didn't think so. Reincarnation Pill Dao. At this crucial moment, Ningyu recalled the book, Samsara Pill Dao. In his previous life, Ningyu had obtained the reincarnation Pill Dao in the Nether Cave, which led to him being besieged by the powerhouses of the Sky Demon region, and he had no choice but to perish at the peak of the Sky Demon region. Ningyu recalled the recipe of the true martial Dan in his mind, and then poured all of his soul power into the furnace. The true martial Dan did not require the 5 elements flower, so Ningyu burnt the 5 elements flower and let it stick on the furnace. Actually, Ningyu had wanted to kick the 5 elements flower out of the furnace at first, but thinking that it might cause a commotion, Ningyu gave up on that idea. After all, the 5 elements flower was publicly recognized as a necessary ingredient for refining the true martial Dan. Ningyu did not want to be captured by others for research, especially since this was the Alchemy Union and there was an old monster on the 8th floor. You still haven't given up? Your spirit is commendable. The guard on the 4th floor said lightly. Ningyu will definitely be able to refine the supreme, true martial Dan. Lu Wei said in a low voice. Of course, if Ningyu cannot refine the supreme, true martial Dan in 10 minutes, I will twist my head off. Li Tongtian believed in Ningyu unconditionally. Idiot. On the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, Zhao Kuo heard the conversation between Lu Wei and Li Tongtian through the crystal wall. He said coldly, If Ningyu is able to refine the supreme, true martial Dan, I will kneel down and sing conquer. What? Before Zhao Kuo could finish his words, his eyes widened and he stared at the crystal wall. His eyeballs were about to fall out of their sockets. This is impossible. Zhao Kuo seemed to have used all of his strength and shouted, This is absolutely impossible. What's the fuss about? Luckily, the soundproofing of this room is very good. Otherwise, people would think that something had happened. Peng Zhou's eyes suddenly opened. He first glared at Zhao Kuo unhappily, then turned his head to look at the crystal wall. Swoosh! Chapter 575. Unreasonable Request Boom. At the entrance of the fourth floor of the Union, Ningyu slammed the cauldron with both of his hands. The lid of the cauldron flew up, and a smooth-looking elixir flew out from the cauldron. Swoosh! Ningyu squinted his eyes and grabbed the elixir firmly in his hand. This is impossible. Seeing Ningyu's action, the guard at the entrance of the fourth floor stood up from his chair and said coldly, "Ningyu, show me the elixir in your hand. I want to confirm if it is a transcendent true martial pill or not." The guard at the entrance of the fourth floor knew better than anyone that the elixir he gave to Ningyu was missing the 5 elements flower. Without the 5 elements flower, no matter how skilled Ningyu was in refining elixir, it would be impossible for him to refine a true martial pill. Could it be that Ningyu had really created another elixir formula? As soon as this thought appeared, it was extinguished by the guard. It was impossible for Ningyu to create another true martial pill formula in such a short period of time. Even if you don't say it, I will give it to you to check. Ningyu behaved very calmly and directly threw the pill in his hand to the guard. Pack! The guard took the elixir from Ningyu and started to check it carefully. This doesn't make sense. How is it possible to refine a transcendent true martial pill? The guard mumbled to himself as he checked. The guard had never heard of anyone being able to refine a true martial pill without the 5 elements flower. But the truth was right in front of him. He had to believe it. After a moment of silence, the guard said, "I have a question to ask. Don't bother. Since I am refining a transcendent true martial pill, does that mean we can enter the 7th floor of the Union directly?" Ningyu waved his hand and said calmly, "You." The guard did not expect Ningyu to do this. He was embarrassed. He had indeed promised Ningyu that as long as Ningyu could refine the transcendent grade true martial Dan within 10 minutes, he would unconditionally allow Ningyu to enter the 7th floor of the Alchemist Union. However, everything was based on the fact that it was impossible for Ningyu to refine the true martial Dan. Now, not only had Ningyu refined a true martial Dan, but the quality had also reached the super grade. Whoosh! Right at this moment, Ningyu's figure flashed, and he scuttled past the guards. "Since you've already confirmed that this is a transcendent grade true martial pill, I'm going to enter the 7th floor of the Alchemy Union." Ningyu casually tossed the pill he had snatched from the guard into his storage ring and walked past the guard towards the 4th floor of the Alchemy Union. Li Tongtian and Lu Wei followed closely behind Ningyu. The guard at the entrance of the 4th floor stared blankly at Ningyu's back, his face filled with confusion. After entering the 4th floor, Ningyu and the rest did not encounter any trouble. Moreover, the 5th floor, the 6th floor, and even the 7th floor were not stopped. To be able to refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan within 10 minutes, it's not easy. However, just as Ningyu was about to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, he was stopped by a young man. The young man was none other than Zhao Kuo. Zhao Kuo's lips curled into a sinister smile as he said eerily, "Hand over the transcendent grade true martial Dan you just refined. Let me check it." "Hand over the transcendent grade true martial Dan for you to check." Hearing this, Ningyu stopped in his tracks and said calmly, "You have to tell me who you are. You can't expect me to hand over the transcendent grade true martial Dan, right? If that's the case, I'll lose face." "Face? Ha ha!" Zhao Kuo laughed hysterically, and his tone turned cold. "I, Zhao Kuo, am giving you face by asking to check your transcendent grade true martial Dan." "Zhao Kuo?" Ningyu raised an eyebrow and said, "That's right, I am Zhao Kuo, ranked first among the younger generation in the Alchemy Union." Zhao Kuo said proudly, "I don't know you." However, before Zhao Kuo could finish his sentence, Ningyu said calmly, "Your ranking in the Alchemy Union has nothing to do with me. Don't refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit." Zhao Kuo's expression turned cold and said, "If you want to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, you'll have to pass through me. Otherwise, you'll have to go back." Zhao Kuo was certain that Ningyu was going to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, so he said with an evil smile, "I'm an easy person to talk to. If you can fulfill 3 conditions, I will open the door to the 8th floor for you." First, hand over the transcendent grade, true martial Dan you, just for find. I want to check if it's a real transcendent grade, true martial Dan. Second, defeat me in terms of alchemy. Third, Zhao Kuo paused for a moment before his gaze landed on Lu Wei and said, if I'm not mistaken, the white puppy should be with her. Hand it over to me so I can study it. Swoosh. Ningyu remained calm when he heard Zhao Kuo's first two conditions. After all, Zhao Kuo's request was not too much. However, when he heard the third condition, Ningyu's face turned completely dark. How dare he? How dare he covet Furball? I don't think I can fulfill any of these three conditions. Ningyu took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, you can't even fulfill one of them, and you still want to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union? Zhao Kuo was stunned when he heard Ningyu's words. He then said, go back to where you came from. You're not welcome here. Let's go. Ningyu did not argue with Zhao Kuo. He turned around and walked toward the 6th floor of the Alchemy Union. Ningyu's sudden action left Zhao Kuo dumbfounded. He was just trying to goad Ningyu into leaving. He did not expect Ningyu to really leave. Ningyu, do you really not want to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union? After a brief moment of shock, Zhao Kuo said loudly, Fengzi and Zhou Tong are both on the 8th floor. If you don't come, I can't guarantee their safety. You're threatening me. Ningyu turned around and walked toward Zhao Kuo step by step at a very slow pace. Looking at Ningyu, who was approaching him, Zhao Kuo's heart clenched and he felt like he was about to lose control of his mind. He quickly guarded his mind and scolded, I'm not threatening you. I'm just telling you the truth. The conditions to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union. Ningyu glanced at the 8th floor of the Alchemy Association and said indifferently, don't make any more unreasonable requests. Swoosh. In the room, Peng Zhou's face turned solemn. This was the second time he had seen such a look. The first time, it was from the white puppy in Lu Wei's arms. The second time, it was from Ningyu. The two gazes were shockingly similar. There was a hint of disdain in both. What kind of ability did Ningyu have? How dare he look at him with such disdain? In an instant, Peng Zhou's face turned extremely cold. He transmitted his voice to Zhao Kuo. Ningyu's alchemy level is very high. You might not be able to surpass him in alchemy. Therefore, for the next assessment, focus on martial arts. Chapter 576. Chapter 576 of the Deadbeat Easily. Ningyu, it's not impossible for you to enter the 8th floor of the Alchemist Association. After receiving Peng Zhou's order, Zhao Kuo rolled his eyes and said, as long as you defeat me in martial arts, you can enter the 8th floor of the Alchemist Union unconditionally. That's simple. Hearing this, Ningyu was slightly taken aback and then said, simple? As if he had just heard the funniest joke in the world. Zhao Kuo threw his head back and let out a wild laugh. Then, he said coldly, to tell you the truth, among the younger generation in the capital, those who can excel in martial arts. Ningyu interrupted Zhao Kuo and said coolly, cut the crap. When will the fight begin? Anytime. Holy shit. Zhao Kuo nodded. Just as he was about to say something harsh, he couldn't help but swear. This was because he realized that Ningyu had arrived in front of him at some point in time. His right fist was only 10 centimeters away from his cheek. Damn it. At the critical moment, Zhao Kuo hastily raised his right hand and collided with Ningyu's fist. Kacha! Ah! A crisp sound accompanied by a pig-slaughtering scream resounded from the entrance of the 8th floor of the Alchemist Union. Luckily, the soundproofing on the 7th floor of the Alchemy Union was pretty good. Otherwise, just this scream alone would definitely cause a huge commotion in the Alchemy Union's main hall. You should have told me earlier that the condition to enter the 8th level of the Alchemist Union was so simple. Why would I waste my breath on you? Casually pushing Zhao Kuo back, Ningyu shrugged and walked toward the 8th floor of the Alchemist Guild. All right. When he came to Zhao Kuo's side, Ningyu paused for a moment, then said, in the future, when you're fighting someone, remember not to be distracted. With that, Ningyu walked towards the 8th level of the Alchemy Union without looking back. Lu Wei and Li Tongtian followed closely behind him. Pucci. Zhao Kuo was already ashamed of his carelessness, and now, when he heard Ning Yu's words, he was so furious that he coughed out a mouthful of blood. Oomph. On the 8th floor of the Alchemy Union, Peng Zhou's face turned cold as he watched the battle between Zhao Kuo and Ning Yu through the crystal wall. Zhao Kuo had lost very sullenly, not because he was weaker than Ning Yu, but because he had been careless. From Peng Zhou's point of view, if Zhao Kuo and Ning Yu really fought each other, it was hard to tell who would win. That's fast. But then again, the speed Ning Yu displayed just now was indeed very fast. Even Peng Zhou couldn't see it clearly. Hurry up and get back here. As the head of the Alchemist Guild, Peng Zhou did not lose his rationality. After a brief moment of shock, he sent a telepathic message to Zhao Kuo and said, "You lost due to carelessness. I hope that you will cherish your next opportunity." Right. Invite Feng Zi and Zhou Tong over. Whoosh. Zhao Kuo was feeling somewhat dejected at first, but when he heard Peng Zhou's message, he hastily got up from the ground with an excited look on his face. It was indeed because of his carelessness that he lost to Ning Yu. Judging from Peng Zhou's words, he was trying to get another chance to fight against Ning Yu. I must seize this opportunity. Ning Yu, just you wait. Zhao Kuo clenched his fists tightly and leaped into the air, heading towards the 8th floor of the Alchemist Guild. There was only one room on the 8th floor of the Alchemist Guild. Naturally, Ning Yu came to the room and stood in front of it. The door is open. Come in. Just as Ning Yu was considering whether he should knock on the door, a deep voice entered his ears. It really is an Enyang Peak martial artist. Hearing the voice, Ning Yu's heart skipped a beat, and he secretly raised his guard. It seemed like his guess was right. The martial artist on the 8th floor of the Alchemist Guild was an Enyang Peak martial artist. Creak. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu pushed the door open and entered. Ren Xiangtian? The moment Ning Yu pushed the door open, he saw two martial artists. One of them was an old man dressed in black. He was obviously one of the higher-ups of the Alchemist Guild and the martial artist who had spoken just now. The other one was Ren Xiangtian, whom Ning Yu was very familiar with. Ning Yu, how have you been? Ren Xiangtian greeted Ning Yu politely and retreated behind the old man in black. Although Ren Xiangtian did not speak, Ning Yu could still see some clues from his facial expression. Could it be that the old man in black in front of him had some kind of powerful background? Ever since Ning Yu entered the room, the old man in black had been staring at Ning Yu. However, the old man in black was still rational. He did not split his soul perception into Ning Yu's body. Instead, he watched quietly. Senior, I'm already here. Isn't it time to hand over Feng, Zi, and Zhou Tong? The old man in black did not speak. Ning Yu would not waste time with him like this. In this room, Ning Yu did not see Feng Zi and Zhou Tong. He definitely had to ask about them. I, Peng Zhou, am a man of my words. I've never gone back on my words. Peng Zhou retracted his gaze and said with a smile, Wait a little longer. Don't wait any longer. Feng Zi and Zhou Tong have been brought here. Ning Yu followed Peng Zhou's gaze and saw a total of 3 people at the entrance of the room. One was Feng Zi, one was Zhou Tong, and the last one was Zhao Kuo, whose face was filled with rage. At this moment, Feng Zi and Zhou Tong were being grabbed by Zhao Kuo like 2 chicks. One in each hand, he threw them into the room. Swish! Swish! Ning Yu and Li Tongtian moved at almost the same time and caught Feng Zi and Zhou Tong. Peng Zhou, what's the meaning of this? Ning Yu first put Feng Zi and Zhou Tong down, then said coldly, Don't tell me this is how you treat your guests. Smack! 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 As soon as Ning Yu finished speaking, Peng Zhou flashed past Zhao Kuo. 3 crisp sounds rang out in the room, causing Ning Yu to stare blankly. Just who was Peng Zhou? Even Zhao Kuo's face was clear. I asked you to invite Feng Zi and Zhou Tong over. Is this how you invite them? Peng Zhou's tone was cold as he said to Zhao Kuo, Hurry up and admit your mistake. Unless Ning Yu forgives you, you'll be punished to face the wall for a month. Whoosh! In that instant, Zhao Kuo felt like his head was about to explode. Just what was Peng Zhou up to? He actually wanted to punish him to face the wall for a month. After all, Tomorrow was the day of the alchemy competition. If he were to face the wall at this time, he would undoubtedly miss the competition. But Peng Zhou's expression was extremely cold. Zhao Kuo could only say reluctantly, "Ningyu, it's all my fault. I was too rash. I hope that a great man like you won't hold it against me." A two-man act? That was the thought that popped into Ningyu's mind. Peng Zhou and Zhao Kuo echoed each other, as if they had planned it beforehand. One was angry, the other was pale. However, Zhao Kuo's status was not on the same level as Peng Zhou. "I'm fine," but Feng Zi and Zhou Tong were a little frightened. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for Feng Zi and Zhou Tong to keep quiet. "Since you want to put on a two-man act, why don't I take this opportunity to extort some money?" Chapter 577. Not a bargain. Just pay me a few 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals, and I'll forget about it. When Ningyu said this, everyone in the large room, including Li Tongtian and the others, including Peng Zhou, were dumbfounded, demanding an exorbitant price. What an exorbitant price! Feng Zi and Zhou Tong were not injured, yet Ningyu asked for a few 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Was he out his mind? Zhao Kuo thought to himself. However, looking at Peng Zhou's expression, Zhao Kuo could only grit his teeth and say, "I do have a few 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals, but it depends on whether you have the ability to snatch it away." "What snatch?" Ningyu's tone was cold. "You said that you hoped I wouldn't lower myself to your level. It's simple. As long as you pay me a few 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals, I won't lower myself to your level." "You!" Zhao Kuo was so angry that he wanted to teach Ningyu a lesson right there and then. However, when he thought of Peng Zhou's words, he could only swallow his anger and say, "A few 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals is too much. Can you reduce it? I'm a very easygoing person. Since you've already asked, it's not right for me to ask for so many supreme grade essence crystals." Ningyu thought for a moment and said, 90,000 supreme grade essence crystals, and we'll forget about it." 90,000 supreme grade essence crystals was not a small sum. Zhao Kuo did not dare to make the decision and could only look at Peng Zhou. As the president of the Alchemy Union, 90,000 supreme grade essence crystals was nothing to him. Give him 90,000 supreme grade essence crystals, then compete with him in terms of martial strength. The wager is 200,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Peng Zhou said without hesitation. Gasp. When Peng Zhou said this, he was very calm. However, when it entered Zhao Kuo's ears, he was extremely shocked, and he gasped. He was giving Ningyu 90,000 supreme grade essence crystals for free and wanted to bet with him for 200,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Moreover, from Peng Zhou's words, it seemed that Ningyu did not need to pay any price. Since Peng Zhou had spoken, Zhao Kuo could not refuse. Therefore, he took out a storage bag and tossed it over to Ningyu. "There are 90,000 supreme grade origin crystals in here," Zhao Kuo said. "Do you want to count them?" "Hee. I still believe in your character. If you tampered with the crystals, it would damage the reputation of the Alchemy Union." A faint smile appeared on Ningyu's face as he tossed the storage bag into his storage ring. Right now, Ningyu was in a very good mood. When he came out of Danwu College, he was still worrying about 200,000 transcendent grade essence crystals. He made a trip to the Miracle Physician shop and obtained 100,000 transcendent grade essence crystals from Dan Xingzi. After entering the Alchemy Union, he won another 100,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals from Zhao Bo and took the remaining 30,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals from Zhao Bo. Now, he obtained another 90,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals from Zhao Kuo. Now, Ningyu had a total of 320,000 transcendent grade yuan crystals on him. With so many transcendent grade yuan crystals, it was enough for the Red Demon Sword to advance to the Monarch rank. "Ningyu, you've accepted the origin crystals. Now, it's time to talk about the matter between us." Right at this moment, Peng Zhou's voice sounded in a timely manner. "I've always wanted to ask you a question. When you were at the entrance of the fourth floor of the Alchemy Union, how on earth did you refine the transcendent grade true martial pill? Can you take out that transcendent grade true martial pill for me to see? Old fox, as expected, you're waiting for me here. Ningyu knew Peng Zhou would ask this question, so he said without batting an eyelid. At that time, the guard gave me 2 sets of herbs to refine the true martial pill. I casually took one and was lucky enough to refine a transcendent grade true martial pill. Was it really luck? Peng Zhou frowned. Of course it's true, Ningyu said as he flicked his sleeves and threw the 4th floor guard's storage bag to Peng Zhou. There's also a set of herbs to refine the true martial pill. If you don't believe me, you can check it. All right, I can use that set of herbs to refine a new batch of transcendent grade true martial pill right in front of you. Ningyu continued. The time will definitely be within 10 minutes. Peng Zhou acted as if he hadn't heard Ningyu's words. Instead, he separated a bit of his soul force into the storage bag. After a while, Peng Zhou retracted his soul force and murmured, "It doesn't make sense. This set of herbs contains the 5 elements flower, and it's of high quality. Could it be that the guard took the wrong herbs?" Peng Zhou thought about it and felt that there was only one explanation. Otherwise, Ningyu using the scrapped 5 elements flower herbs to refine the transcendent grade true martial pill was indeed a bit scary. That transcendent grade true martial pill you refined. If it's convenient, let me have a look. Peng Zhou said. Xiao. Ningyu hesitated for a second, then flicked his sleeve and threw the true martial pill to Peng Zhou. Catching the true martial pill, Peng Zhou carefully observed it. This time, Peng Zhou observed it very carefully, hoping to find the flaw of the true martial pill. But he was destined to find nothing. The true martial pill recorded in the reincarnation pill, Dao, could only be found by the pill Dao Grandmaster. Ordinary 8th rank alchemists could not find it all. Peng Zhou's soul force was only at the early 8th rank. With his strength, to find the difference between the true martial pill and the true martial pill was as hard as ascending to heaven. And this was also the reason why Ningyu dared to take out the true martial pill for him to check. It is indeed a transcendent grade, true martial pill. It seems like the guard on the 4th floor took the wrong storage bag. A moment later, Peng Zhou returned the true martial pill to Ningyu. Senior, forgive me for asking, but is there anything else? Putting the true martial pill into the storage ring, Ningyu hesitated. If there is nothing else, I need to go back and prepare. After all, tomorrow is the alchemy competition. Hee, why are you in such a hurry to leave? Peng Zhou waved his hand and smiled. To be honest, Zhao Kuo is my disciple. He has always had a dream. Zhao Kuo is your disciple? Ningyu came to a sudden realization. No wonder Run Xiangtian's expression was a little unsightly when he first came in. He didn't expect Zhao Kuo to be Peng Zhou's disciple. That's right, Zhao Kuo is my last disciple. Peng Zhou nodded. When Danwu College's Sacred Institute recruited students, he wanted to participate in the assessment. But due to various reasons, he missed the assessment. And you're the first in the assessment, so Zhao Kuo wants to exchange pointers with you here. At this point, Peng Zhou paused for a moment before continuing. Let's first spar in martial arts, then alchemy. Originally, Peng Zhou only wanted Zhao Kuo to compete with Ningyu in terms of martial arts. But for some reason, he changed his mind. Whether it was alchemy or martial arts, he wanted to see Ningyu's real level. And Zhao Kuo was undoubtedly the best touchstone. Among the younger generation of the Alchemy Union, Zhao Kuo surpassed Situ 1 and Run Xiangtian, becoming the number 1 peerless prodigy in the Union. Chapter 578. Primordial Chi Feast. There's no need to spar in terms of martial arts, right? Ningyu said, at the entrance to the 8th level of the Alchemy Union, your disciple was already defeated by me. Continuing to spar won't affect the outcome. Ningyu, I was careless just now. If we were to spar again, I definitely won't lose. Zhao Kuo's face was contorted with rage. You're only a mid-stage primordial core cultivator, while I'm a peak-stage primordial core cultivator. Be it the density of primordial chi or personal strength, I far surpass you. Oh, Ningyu raised an eyebrow and said, let's make it simpler in terms of martial arts. Let's compete on the density of primordial chi. Oomph. That's what you said. I didn't force you. Zhao Kuo snorted coldly. In Zhao Kuo's opinion, Ningyu's arrogance was tantamount to seeking death. Ningyu did not know that Zhao Kuo's primordial chi was abnormally dense, but Ren Xiangtian was well aware of it. Although Zhao Kuo's cultivation was only peak stage primordial core, the density of his primordial chi was comparable to a mid-stage yin-yang realm martial artist. No matter how strong Ningyu was, could he contend with a mid-stage yin-yang realm martial artist? Zhao Kuo, there's no meaning in a spar without a stake. Ningyu smiled at Ren Xiangtian, then turned around and said, how about this? In addition to the 90,000 supreme primordial crystals you gave me, I'll take out another 10,000 supreme primordial crystals to round it up. Gasp. Zhou Tong could not help but gasp when he heard Ningyu's words. Earlier, when Ningyu extorted 90,000 transcendent grade essence crystals from Zhao Kuo, Zhou Tong was already shocked enough. Now that Ningyu took out 100,000 transcendent grade essence crystals as a wager, the shock on Zhou Tong's face could not be any greater. That was 100,000 supreme primordial crystals. If he lost, wouldn't it be all for naught? Moreover, Zhou Tong did not think that Ningyu would win. Anyone with a discerning eye could tell that Zhao Kuo and Ningyu were much stronger based on the strength of their primal chi. Compared to Zhou Tong's shock, Li Tongtian and the rest were still fine. After all, with his status, 100,000 transcendent grade origin crystals was not considered a lot. Do you think I'm afraid of you? Zhao Kuo sneered. With a flick of his wrist, he took out another storage pouch. Waving the storage bag in his hand, Zhao Kuo said darkly, there are 200,000 supreme grade crystals in here. As long as you can defeat me in both martial arts and alchemy, they are all yours. That's not very good, Ningyu said after a slight hesitation. What's wrong with that? Are you afraid? If you're afraid, you can tell me. Zhao Kuo said proudly. Stop. Ningyu interrupted Zhao Kuo and said, what I mean is I'm only paying 100,000 supreme grade crystals, but you're paying 200,000. This ratio is a little unfair. We're guests from afar. It's okay for us to suffer a little. Peng Zhou smiled and said, there are two ways to compete in the intensity of primordial chi. First, you can fight each other with your palms and see who can last longer. This method is more direct and intuitive. Second, I'll take out a crystal ball to test primordial chi. Both of you will inject your primordial chi into the crystal ball and see who can light up more halos. You decide which method to choose. Ningyu pondered for a moment and said, I also like the simple and violent method for the first one. You can begin. Unleash your primordial chi to your heart's content. I'll stand guard here and make sure I don't disturb the others. Peng Zhou took a step back and waved his hands. All of a sudden, a primordial chi barrier appeared in the surroundings, enveloping Ningyu and Zhao Kuo. As for him, Lu Wei, and the others, they stood outside the barrier and observed Ningyu and Zhao Kuo's movements. Ningyu, let's see how you're going to play your tricks this time. Zhao Kuo's lips curled up as if he could already see Ningyu's miserable state. He laughed sinisterly. I don't need to use my full strength to deal with you. Ningyu curled his lips and walked toward Zhao Kuo. After a while, Ningyu came to Zhao Kuo's side, raised his right hand, and said, let me see what the #1 martial artist of the Alchemist Union is capable of. You're courting death. Zhao Kuo's expression was cold. He raised his right hand and punched toward Ningyu. Pack! In an instant, the two palms collided. As soon as his palm came into contact with Ningyu's, the primordial chi in Zhao Kuo's body surged toward Ningyu's palm. No wonder he's so confident. The density of his primordial chi is comparable to that of a mid-yin-yang stage martial artist. At this moment, Ningyu was slightly moved, but that was all. Although the density of Zhao Kuo's primordial chi was comparable to that of a mid-yin-yang stage martial artist, it was still a far cry from his 7 golden cores. For now, I'm evenly matched with you. I can't defeat you so quickly. From the corner of his eye, Ning Yu saw Peng Zhou's expression. He quickly concealed the golden cores in his consciousness, leaving only one golden core to contend with Zhao Kuo. Ning Yu still felt that Peng Zhou had an ulterior motive for asking him to come here. Therefore, Ning Yu would not reveal his true strength here. Evenly matched, outside the primordial qi barrier, Peng Zhou frowned, feeling a little shocked. He knew Peng Zhou very well. Peng Zhou was at the pinnacle of the primordial core stage and the density of primordial qi of a mid-yin-yang stage martial artist. The fact that Ning Yu could go head-on with Peng Zhou as a mid-yin-yang stage martial artist was a testament to Ning Yu's strength. Could it be that Ning Yu's strength has reached the level where he can crush Zhao Kuo? Peng Zhou thought to himself. Just as the thought rose in his mind, it was impossible to get rid of. Li Tongtian, you seem to have a lot of confidence in Ning Yu. While Ning Yu and Zhao Kuo were fighting, Li Tongtian and Rin Xiangtian were conversing. What confidence? It's not like you don't know Ning Yu's strength. Li Tongtian waved his hand and said, let me put it this way. If Ning Yu wants to defeat me now, he doesn't even need to use his full strength. He only needs to use 20% of his strength, Li Tongtian said in a low voice. What? Hearing this, Rin Xiangtian's face was filled with shock. He was well aware of Li Tongtian's strength. Li Tongtian was at the pinnacle of the primordial core stage, and his true strength was comparable to an early yin-yang stage martial artist. If Ning Yu could defeat him so easily, didn't that mean that defeating Zhao Kuo would not be difficult? But the current situation was that Zhao Kuo and Ning Yu were evenly matched, and neither could defeat the other. Let's see how long you can last. Time ticked by, and in the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed. Looking at the pained expression on Ning Yu's face, Zhao Kuo smirked. Ning Yu, that was just the appetizer. What comes next is the real primordial qi feast. Zhao Kuo cracked his neck, and the golden elixir emerged from his body and floated above his head. Chapter 579. Careless Hiss. Despite Li Tongtian and the rest's confidence in Ning Yu, they could not help but gasp when they felt the thick primordial qi that shot out of Zhao Kuo's golden core. Did Zhao Kuo eat some kind of all-nourishing pill? Why was the primordial qi in his golden core so thick? The primordial qi that burst out of Zhao Kuo's golden core could even compete with a peak intermediate yin-yang realm martial artist. It was about to break through its limits and compete with a peak intermediate yin-yang realm martial artist. Since when did Zhao Kuo become so powerful? Ren Xiangtian's expression was solemn and incredulous. Ning Yu is doomed this time, but I still believe in Ning Yu, Li Tongtian said in a low voice. Ning Yu has even killed a late-stage yin-yang realm martial artist, let alone Zhao Kuo, who fought against a peak mid-stage yin-yang realm martial artist with only primordial qi. Feng Zi thought to himself. Harry Ball, do you think Ning Yu will win? Lu Wei pulled Harry Ball's ear and asked in a low voice. Harry Ball looked at Lu Wei and went back to sleep, which made Lu Wei stomp her feet angrily. This, Zhou Tong's face was full of bitterness. The conflict between Ning Yu and Zhao Kuo was all because of him. If Ning Yu did not want to avenge him, why would he have a conflict with Zhao Kuo of the Alchemy Union? Moreover, Zhao Kuo was only a genius in the Alchemy Union. The most powerful martial artist was his master. Not bad. It seems that Zhao Kuo's seclusion this time was not in vain. The density of his primordial qi has increased by a level. Peng Zhou was quite satisfied with Zhao Kuo's performance. In the past, Zhao Kuo's primordial qi could only compete with a mid-yin-yang realm martial artist. Now, it had increased again and was showing signs of competing with a late yin-yang realm martial artist. At this rate, Zhao Kuo might be able to compete for the crown in the finals of the alchemy competition. Did I overestimate Ning Yu, or did I get the wrong information? Peng Zhou turned to look at Ning Yu, who was struggling to persevere and could not help but fall in a deep thought. According to the news he received, Ningyu had replaced Zhang Tianwen's position in the Sacred Institute and became the real #1 person in the Sacred Institute. Logically speaking, the resources that Ningyu enjoyed were top-notch. He even had the opportunity to come into contact with Danwu College's Pill Cavern. Of course, the prerequisite was that Ningyu had to become a fake saint. Every pseudo-saint of Danwu College was a top secret. Ordinary people did not even know the identity of a pseudo-saint. Take Li Tongtian, for example. He hid it very well. Other than a few people from the royal family, even Peng Zhou did not know that he was a fake saint. Perhaps Ningyu's martial arts strength is not that strong, but his alchemy skills are enough to make him a fake saint. Peng Zhou frowned slightly and murmured, "In Danwu College, as long as one's alchemy or martial Dao was abnormally heaven-defying, they could participate in the false saint's test. Once they passed, they would become a fake saint." The previous Sacred Institute's most popular candidate, Zhang Tianwen, had already been defeated by Ningyu. Peng Zhou had originally thought that Ningyu would become a fake saint, but now it seemed unlikely. To be precise, in terms of martial arts, Ningyu is still not qualified. After all, Zhao Kuo had sparred with a fake saint before. At that time, Zhao Kuo had lost in martial arts. Looks like I have to test Ningyu's alchemy skills again. If Ningyu could not even beat Zhao Kuo in martial arts, then he naturally could not rely on martial arts to become a fake saint. However, before Peng Zhou could finish his sentence, he saw the corner of Ningyu's mouth curl up. Then, a wave of essence qi that was no weaker than Zhao Kuo's burst forth from his consciousness. Bam! Caught off guard. He was really caught off guard. Just when Zhao Kuo was at his most gleeful, a powerful wave of essence qi exploded from Ningyu's body and pushed him back. Puffed. Zhao Kuo spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. His face turned extremely pale and bloodless. Careless. Careless again. Shameful. What a disgrace. Zhao Kuo wanted to slap himself a few times for being defeated twice in a row because of his carelessness. Swoosh. Zhao Kuo's sudden defeat left everyone in the room dumbfounded. Peng Zhou was the most confused of them all. He had basically sentenced Ningyu to death. Who would have thought that Ningyu would suddenly emerge and give him a huge surprise? Not simple. Not simple at all. Peng Zhou took a deep breath and began to reevaluate Ningyu. However, Ningyu had already hidden his golden core, so Peng Zhou could not see through it all. On the contrary, Peng Zhou felt that Ningyu was becoming more and more mysterious. "I'm sorry. I had a sudden impulse just now, and a wave of primitive energy burst forth from my body." After defeating Zhao Kuo, Ningyu first said apologetically. Then he changed the topic and said, "I accidentally won 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals. Next time something this good happens, look for me first. I'll be at your beck and call." Puffed. Zhao Kuo was already feeling gloomy. When he heard Ningyu's mocking words, he coughed out another mouthful of blood. He wished he could find a hole and hide in it. Shameful. This was really too shameful. It was understandable that he lost to Ningyu the first time because of his carelessness, but it was inexcusable that he lost to Ningyu the second time because of his carelessness. After all, he had fallen at the same place twice. He should change his way of thinking and learn from his mistakes. Well, if there's nothing else, can we start the alchemy competition? Ningyu did not care whether Zhao Kuo coughed out blood or not. All he cared about was when he would get the remaining 100,000 supreme grade essence crystals. "Compete," Zhao Kuo said through clenched teeth. "Let's compete in refining energy transformation pills." "What? Compete in refining energy transformation pills?" Ningyu asked as if he did not hear it clearly. Let's compete in refining a 5th grade pill, the energy transformation pill," Zhao Kuo said coldly. Zhao Kuo's cultivation was at the pinnacle of the primal core realm. Recently, he had been refining energy transformation pills. Therefore, it was understandable that Zhao Kuo wanted to compete with Ningyu in refining energy transformation pills. Ningyu is in danger this time. Ren Xiangtian's expression turned solemn when he heard Zhao Kuo's words. "What's going on?" Li Tongtian asked. The pill that Zhao Kuo is best at is probably the energy transformation pill, Ren Xiangtian explained. Ren Xiangtian explained, recently, Zhao Kuo has been refining energy transformation pills like crazy. He even refined a supreme grade energy transformation pill once. What? A supreme grade energy transformation pill. Feng Zi and Lu Wei, who were very confident in Ningyu, could not help but worry. When Ningyu fought with Situ One, he won because of a superior grade energy transformation pill. Was he going to lose to Zhao Kuo again because of the energy transformation pill? Lu Wei and the others turned to look at Ningyu, hoping that Ningyu would not agree to Zhao Kuo's challenge. Sai, some people want to give me supreme grade essence crystals, but there's nothing I can do about it. Ningyu sighed lightly and said slowly, Zhao Kuo, I'll tell you a little secret. When I defeated Situ One, it was because I concocted the energy transformation pill before him. Chapter 580. Notification. Zhao Kuo burst out laughing when he heard Ningyu's words. You are a person who refined a high-grade essence transformation pill, yet you are bragging in front of a person who refined a supreme-grade essence transformation pill. Don't you feel ashamed? Who doesn't know how to boast? Let's see who's better. After Zhao Kuo finished speaking with a cold voice, he produced 2 storage pouches from his robe and tossed one of them to Ningyu. Huh! Catching the storage pouch, Ningyu teased, Zhao Kuo, do you sell storage pouches? Why do you have so many? Ever since he met Zhao Kuo, he had taken out many storage pouches. One could not help but suspect that Zhao Kuo sold storage pouches. Whoosh! Zhao Kuo did not care about Ningyu's teasing. He had lost to Ningyu in the martial arts competition, so he had to get back at him in the alchemy competition. Otherwise, as the #1 genius in the alchemy union, he would lose all his face. Therefore, Zhao Kuo took out his alchemy furnace and tossed it into the air. He was going to refine the primary transformation pill before Ningyu. What the F***CK? Ningyu was dumbfounded when he saw Zhao Kuo's actions. He had seen shameless people, but he had never seen someone as shameless as Zhao Kuo. Ningyu, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and refine the pill. Ren Xiangtian quickly reminded Ningyu when he saw him standing there in a daze. With Zhao Kuo's alchemy skills, he'll be able to refine a high-grade primary transformation pill in 10 minutes at most. I almost forgot if you didn't remind me. Hearing that, Ningyu calmly asked Zhao Kuo, we're competing to refine the primary transformation pill. How do we win? That's simple. Whoever can refine a high-grade primary transformation pill first wins. Although Zhao Kuo said that his hands were not idle. As he spoke, he tossed another medicinal herb into the alchemy furnace and increased the intensity of the flame. Even if he wins with a high-grade yuan melting pill, it's reasonable. Ningyu hesitated for a while before taking out the pill furnace unhurriedly and starting to refine the yuan transforming pill. You're using this pill furnace? Although Zhao Kuo was concocting the energy transformation pill with all his might, he still noticed Ningyu's movements in between. Especially when he saw the pill furnace in Ningyu's hand, Zhao Kuo was dumbfounded. Because the pill furnace in Ningyu's hands could not even enter the earth board of pill furnaces. Using this kind of inferior pill furnace, he might be able to refine a transcendent grade true martial Dan. But if he wanted to refine a high-grade origin transformation Dan, it was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. What? Could it be that you want to let me use your alchemy furnace? Ningyu raised an eyebrow and said, I have a special characteristic. If someone gives me something, I will never refuse. After all, I can't let them be bitterly disappointed. But, at this point, Ningyu changed the topic and said with a smile, You're different. Even if you give me your pill furnace, I won't take it. Hearing the first half of Ningyu's words, the people in the room did not feel anything. But when they heard the second half, they could not help but laugh out loud. Provocation, a blatant provocation. Ningyu was obviously looking down on Zhao Kuo. In other words, Ningyu did not take Zhao Kuo seriously at all. You only know how to use your tongue. I still have 7 to 8 minutes to refine a high-grade yuan melting pill, and then you'll be crying. Zhao Kuo took a deep breath, forcibly suppressing the anger in his heart, and focused all his attention on refining the pill. Fortunately, he had a firm mind. Otherwise, just based on what Ningyu said just now, his furnace of energy transformation pills would have been ruined. Don't worry, I'll definitely be the one laughing. Ningyu shrugged, then threw a medicinal ingredient into the pill furnace. Because Peng Zhou was present, Ningyu did not throw all the medicinal ingredients into the pill furnace at once. Instead, he refined the medicinal ingredients in an honest manner. Although Peng Zhou would be able to find out Ningyu's crazy way of refining pills in the past with a little investigation, those pills were all grade 4 pills, or even pills lower than grade 4. Ningyu had never used that kind of crazy refining method to refine grade 5 pills in front of others. At least, in an occasion where Peng Zhou was present, Ningyu did not want to expose himself too much. Defeating Situ won in an overwhelming manner, and using the Waste 5 Elements flower to refine a supreme grade true martial pill, Ningyu did all these things for Peng Zhou to see. It was to create an illusion for Peng Zhou that there was someone behind him, so that when Peng Zhou wanted to make a move on him, he would have to think twice. Some things it was not good to expose too much. Ningyu understood this. Therefore, he refined the Huiyuan pill in an honest manner. It was just that his refining speed was slightly faster than Zhao Kuo's. Ningyu's attainments in refining pills are really profound. Even though Ningyu had held back, in Peng Zhou's eyes, he was still a freak. At this rate, it is still unknown whether Zhao Kuo can win or not. In fact, it was no wonder that Peng Zhou was shocked. Ningyu had refined the Huiyuan pill one step later than Zhao Kuo. If he succeeded before Zhao Kuo, how would Zhao Kuo feel? Most likely, he would start to doubt his life. Drip, drip. Time passed bit by bit. In such a big room, no one made a sound. There was only the sound of the medicinal ingredients being refined. As time passed, Zhao Kuo's expression became more and more excited. In the end, he almost jumped up. Ha ha! Ningyu, I'm about to form the pill. Keep up the good work. In the next moment, Zhao Kuo laughed loudly and slapped the cauldron. The lid flew up, and a smooth and round pill was about to burst out from the cauldron. Crack! At this moment, Ningyu's eyes widened. With a thought of his soul force, the cauldron exploded. Swoosh! After the cauldron exploded, a similar smooth and round pill was firmly held in Ningyu's hand. I'm sorry, I'm the one who formed the pill first, not you. Ningyu slowly opened his fist. In the center of his palm, there was a smooth and round pill. The sudden change made Zhao Kuo's mouth slightly open. He was speechless for a long time. Gulp! After a while, Zhao Kuo swallowed a mouthful of saliva and cursed, saying what was in his heart. Is this even possible? Zhao Kuo was speechless as he stared at the origin energy pill in the mouth of the cauldron. He was supposed to be the first to form the pill, but who would have thought that Ningyu would not play by the rules and directly shatter the cauldron? Since the cauldron had been shattered, the first to form the pill was naturally Ningyu. After all, the origin energy pills refined by both of them were superior grade pills. Zhao Kuo, thank you for the 200,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. While Zhao Kuo was still in a daze, Ningyu teleported and snatched Zhao Kuo's storage bag. Not bad. 200,000 supreme grade yuan crystals. After checking the yuan crystals in the storage bag, Ningyu nodded in satisfaction and said, I'll say it again. The next time something this good happens, let me know first. Let me know. I'll let your whole family know. Zhao Kuo was trembling with anger. He was on the verge of exploding after being defeated by Ningyu again and again. Chapter 581. Trouble Comes Knocking, Senior. My martial arts and alchemy battles with Zhao Kuo are over. If there's nothing else, may I take my leave? Ningyu was too lazy to pay any attention to Zhao Kuo. After all, it was inevitable for a defeated opponent to say some harsh words, so there was no need to take it to heart. What Ningyu cared about now was Peng Zhou's opinion. In other words, it was up to Peng Zhou to let him go. Peng Zhou was a martial artist at the peak of the Yinyang realm and an early-stage 8th-grade alchemist. If Peng Zhou wanted to make things difficult for him, there was nothing he could do. I can leave, but Peng Zhou frowned slightly and hesitated for a while before saying, "Tomorrow is the alchemy competition. If you don't have a suitable place to stay, the Alchemy Union can provide you with a good place to cultivate. Thank you for your kindness, Senior. I've already arranged a place for you to stay, so you don't have to worry about it." Ningyu directly rejected Peng Zhou. Stay in the Alchemy Union? What a joke. Ningyu wasn't that stupid. Staying in the Alchemy Union was no different from staying in a tiger's den. Not only did they have to guard against Zhao Kuo's crafty plots, they also had to guard against Peng Zhou's interference. Since it's like that, then I won't ask him to stay. Peng Zhou smiled and said, "Ren Xiangtian, send him off. Farewell." Ningyu first cupped his hands towards Peng Zhou, then left the room with Lu Wei and the others. Not long after Ningyu left, Peng Zhou's face turned completely gloomy. "Master, Ningyu is too arrogant. We have to take him down a peg," Zhao Kuo said coldly with a fierce look in his eyes. "Humph, I told you not to be careless, but you didn't listen. Look at you now." Not only did he lose to Ningyu in the martial competition, he even lost to him in the alchemy competition. At this moment, Peng Zhou was in a fit of anger. It would have been better if Zhao Kuo had not said anything, but once he did, Peng Zhou frowned. "You want to get into the top 3 in the alchemy competition? Dream on. From now on, until the alchemy competition starts, don't go anywhere. Stay here and reflect on your actions." While speaking, Peng Zhou left the room, leaving behind a dumbfounded Zhao Kuo. "Ningyu, in the alchemy competition, I will make you lose all your face." After a brief moment of being dumbfounded, Zhao Kuo clenched his fists tightly as a cold and gloomy expression appeared on his face. Whoosh! Ningyu had no idea what Zhao Kuo was thinking. However, even if Ningyu knew about it, he would just laugh it off. Be it martial arts or alchemy, Zhao Kuo was no match for him. It could be said that Zhao Kuo was far inferior to him. Against a martial artist like Zhao Kuo, Ningyu did not even need to use his full strength. "Brother Ren, please wait." Outside the Alchemy Union, Ningyu turned around and said, "Let's meet again tomorrow at the alchemy competition. You've offended 2 of the top 3 geniuses in the Alchemy Union." Ren Xiangtian moved closer to Ningyu and said in a low voice, "Zhao Kuo will probably be grounded, and President Peng Zhou will not do anything to you due to his status. You just need to be careful of Sidowen." At this point, Ren Xiangtian looked around and transmitted his voice to Ningyu. Situ has been very close to the 9th Prince recently. The 9th Prince? Ningyu was slightly stunned. Ningyu had some understanding of the 9th Prince. Back when Ouyang Ba brought him and Li Tongtian to the Frost Manor, they stayed in a luxurious palace because it was getting late. Unexpectedly, they were ambushed by a mid-stage Yinyang realm martial artist that night. Just as Ningyu and the Dark Emperor joined forces to kill the mid-stage Yinyang realm martial artist, the 9th Prince arrived. Although Ningyu managed to kill the martial artist in the end, he had completely offended the 9th Prince. That's right. Ever since the incident in Tianyuan Tower, the 9th Prince has suddenly risen to power with the 6th Prince, the 1st Prince, and the 3rd Prince. Ren Xiangtian nodded and said, "It seems that Ouyang Ba has suppressed the news of Ouyang Hai's death." Since Ren Xiangtian said that it was a 4-way alliance, it seemed that the news of Ouyang Hai's death had not spread. "Brother, thank you for your reminder. I'll be extra careful tonight." Ningyu cupped his fists at Ren Xiangtian and walked away without looking back. Ren Xiangtian hesitated in front of the Alchemy Union for a while until Ningyu's figure completely disappeared before he entered the Alchemy Union. "Where to now?" On the streets of the capital, Li Tongtian frowned and said, "Tomorrow is the alchemy competition. We should have a good rest tonight." "Sikong Ling's place," Ningyu said. Actually, when he was at the Alchemy Union, Ningyu had already thought of a place to go. Sikong Ling's place was spacious with many rooms, enough to accommodate many people. Most importantly, Sikong Ling was a young master of the black market. His identity could cover up many things. If I'm not mistaken, Sikong Ling is just an insignificant young master of the black market. There are many young masters who are stronger than him in the black market, Li Tongtian said doubtfully. Rather than going to Sikong Ling's place, why don't we go back to Dongwu College? I've been through life and death with Sikong Ling. It's not a bad idea to go to his place. Ningyu waved his hand, gesturing for Li Tongtian not to say anything more. At this critical juncture, Ningyu naturally did not want to go to Dongwu College. After all, there were many people in Dongwu College, and there were many powerful cultivators there. If they discovered any clues, it would not be worth it. Since Ningyu had spoken, Li Tongtian did not say much and followed behind Ningyu. Swoosh! At the same time, in a luxurious palace in the capital, a few cultivators were facing each other. If Ningyu was here, he would definitely realize that he knew one of the cultivators. It was none other than Sikong Ling. However, Sikong Ling's face was slightly pale and his breathing was extremely unstable. In front of Sikong Ling, there were 4 cultivators. 3 of them were in the middle stage of the primal core stage. One of them had even reached the pinnacle of the primal core stage. Sikong Ling, I advise you to surrender as soon as possible. That way, you can avoid a lot of physical pain. The pinnacle of the primal core stage cultivator laughed evilly and said, among all the young masters in the black market, you are not even in the top 3. Relying on young master Hu Fei is the best choice. You want me to rely on that useless Hu Fei? Why don't you take a piss and look at yourself in the mirror? Sikong Ling spat and said coldly, Hu Fei is only in the middle stage of the true martial realm. If he did not have a good father, he would not even be the young master of the black market. Among all the young masters in the black market, I am indeed not in the top 3, but Hu Fei is not even in the top 10. Even if you take me down today, Hu Fei will still not be the top young master of the black market. You don't have to worry about that. The pinnacle of the primal core stage cultivator smiled and said, this time, we have sent out a few teams. All the young masters who are ahead of Hu Fei in the black market have 2 choices. First, submit to young master Hu Fei and become his servant. Chapter 582. Chapter 582. I until UCTIO and pledge allegiance whoosh. The moment the word die was uttered, the peak primal core martial artist unleashed his aura and suppressed Sikong Ling. Sikong Ling was already severely injured, and now he was being suppressed by the peak primal core martial artist. How could he withstand it? Spitting out a mouthful of fresh blood, Sikong Ling's breathing became even weaker. His entire body swayed as if he would collapse at any moment. Sikong Ling, I'll give you one last chance. The peak primal core martial artist retracted some of his aura and said coldly, surrender or die. Surrender? Sikong Ling tried his best to control his body as he said coldly, all right, since you've surrendered to Hu Fei, then we're family. Hearing Sikong Ling's words, the peak primal core martial artist immediately retracted all of his aura and said, from now on, surrender my ass. However, before the peak primal core martial artist could finish his sentence, Sikong Ling rose from the ground, his right fist carrying a violent gust of yuan qi as it viciously punched towards his chest. Seeking death. Looking at Sikong Ling, who was getting closer and closer to him, the peak primal core stage warrior's face darkened to the extreme. He didn't expect Sikong Ling to refuse a toast only to be forced to drink a forfeit. You're seeking death? You can't blame me. Since that was the case, the peak primal core martial artist decided to teach Sikong Ling a lesson and let him know why flowers are red. In the next moment, the yuan qi in the peak primal core martial artist consciousness poured out and wrapped around his wrist. Then, it unavoidably collided with Sikong Ling's right fist. Crack! The moment the 2 fists collided, a crisp sound accompanied by a squeal, like a pig being slaughtered, rang through the area. What? This is impossible. Sikong Ling is only a peak true martial realm martial artist. How can he have such powerful combat power? This sudden turn of events caused the other 3 mid-primal core stage warriors to be dumbfounded. They never imagined that Sikong Ling could actually have such powerful combat power that even a peak primal core martial artist was no match for him. What are you all standing there for? Go, go. Tear Sikong Ling to pieces. The martial artist at the peak of the Yuan dance stage was furious and wanted nothing more than to kill Sikong Ling. However, he knew that now that his right hand was crippled, his battle prowess would decrease by at least a few tenths. If he made a move at this time, what if Sikong Ling made another vicious move? Wouldn't he die here? Hence, the martial artist at the peak of the primal core stage let the other 3 martial artists take action, while he stayed behind to treat his right hand. Bang, bang, bang. Sikong Ling had just used the creation state palm that Ningyu had given him to break the right hand of the pinnacle of the primal core stage. But at the same time, he himself was on the brink of collapse. The palm of the fortune realm could not be used casually. With Sikong Ling's cultivation at the peak of the true martial realm, he could not completely control it. Without the support of the manifestation stage hand, Sikong Ling was naturally no match for the 3 mid-primal core stage warriors. In an instant, he was struck in the chest by their attacks and was sent flying back several feet. Wait! Just as the 3 mid-Yuan dance stage martial artists were about to kill Sikong Ling, the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist shouted, "Force him to hand over the antidote." Antidote? Hearing this, the 3 mid-Yuan dance stage martial artists were stunned, and then they turned their gazes to the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist. Hiss! It would have been fine if they did not look, but when they did, they sucked in a breath of cold air. At this time, the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist was in a terrible state. His entire right hand had turned green, and there was a faint sign that it was going to rot. Ha ha! There's no antidote. If you want to kill me, you'll have to pay a price first. Sikong Ling threw his head back and laughed. Price? The price is that if you don't hand over the antidote, I'll tear you to pieces today. The peak Yuan dance stage martial artist resisted the sharp pain in his right hand and said coldly, "If you know what's good for you, hand over the antidote as soon as possible. Otherwise, I have 100 ways to kill you." Is that so? Just as the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist finished speaking, his expression changed drastically. That was because a soft voice rang out beside his ear. Creak! A moment later, the originally tightly shut door was pushed open, and a group of 4 or 5 people walked in side by side. Ningyu? Looking at the familiar figure at the front, Sikong Ling's face lit up, and his tense nerves relaxed slightly. Initially, Sikong Ling was relying on his last breath to support his body, but now that his last breath was gone, he directly fell backwards. Swoosh! Ningyu reacted quickly and caught Sikong Ling firmly. Fengzi, take care of Sikong Ling first, leave the rest to me. Ningyu first handed Sikong Ling over to Fengzi, then walked step by step towards the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist. Ningyu was furious, extremely furious. He and Sikong Ling had a special relationship, and now Sikong Ling's breathing was weak, and his right hand had almost suffered a backlash. One must know that Sikong Ling's right hand was at the creation stage, and once it suffered a backlash, the consequences would be unthinkable. Ningyu naturally wanted to help Sikong Ling get back at him, and the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist before him was undoubtedly a target for Ningyu to vent his anger on. Tell me your identity, and I can consider letting you live. Let me live? Ha ha ha. The peak Yuan dance stage martial artist thought that Sikong Ling's helpers had arrived, and when he felt the aura emanating from Ningyu and the rest, he could not help but laugh out loud. Afraid of causing unnecessary trouble, Ningyu asked Li Tongtian and the rest to conceal their auras, and ordinary people would only appear to be at the true martial realm. Especially Ningyu himself. The aura he emanated was only at the beginning stage of the true martial realm, so weak that it could not be any weaker. Don't think that my strength has decreased by quite a few %, but dealing with you is very easy. The peak Yuan dance stage martial artist laughed coldly. Today, I will let you know that some things cannot be pretentious. Swoosh! As he spoke, The pinnacle of the primal core stage, ancient martial art practitioner rose from the ground and rushed towards Ningyu at an astonishing speed. However, when the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist reached Ningyu's side, he was dumbfounded. At this moment, Ningyu was long gone. "Sai, you're really too slow." Ningyu appeared behind the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist, patted him on the shoulder, and sighed softly. "If you're so slow, you'll get beaten up." Pong! As he spoke, Ningyu's right hand struck out through the air, hitting the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist squarely on the back. The immense force caused the pinnacle of the primal core stage martial artist to fall directly to the ground, face down. "Do you want to surrender yourselves, or do I have to make a move?" After casually defeating the peak Yuan dance stage martial artist, Ningyu stopped and turned to the other three mid-Yuan dance stage martial artists. "You can think about it. If you surrender yourselves, I can spare your lives. If I have to make a move, you won't be so lucky." The three mid-Yuan dance stage martial artists looked at each other and replied in unison. "We swear our loyalty to young master Hu Fei." Chapter 583. The Man in Gray. Looks like this Hu Fei young master's charisma is not bad to be able to make you die for him. Ningyu shrugged, then threw out 3 consecutive punches, each landing on the hearts of the 3 mid-primal core stage martial artists. Puffed, puffed, puffed. The 3 mid-primal core stage martial artists spat out a mouthful of fresh blood, their eyes wide open. Even in death, they still could not understand how Ningyu, who was only in the early stages of the true martial realm, could have such a strong fighting ability. "I've dealt with them. Now it's your turn." After killing the 3 mid-primal core stage martial artists, Ningyu once again came before the peak primal core stage martial artist and said calmly, "You have 2 choices. Tell me who this Hu Fei is and what your next plan is, or die." The moment the word die was uttered, Ningyu's entire body's aura was unleashed without reservation, and it recklessly suppressed the peak primal core stage martial artist. Being suppressed by such a ferocious aura, the peak primal core stage martial artist's expression was extremely ugly, and he wished he could dig a hole and hide in it. History was repeating itself. History was really repeating itself. Originally, he was the one who had done this to Sikong Ling, but now it was his turn. Hu Fei is the young master of the black market, but he is not even in the top 10 of the black market. In order to survive, the peak primal core stage martial artist hurriedly said, "Not even the top 10? Ningyu raised an eyebrow and said calmly, "If that's the case, then Hu Fei's backing must be very strong." That's right, Hu Fei's backing is indeed very strong. His backing is in the black market. Puffed. The peak primal core stage martial artist nodded, but before he could finish his sentence, his eyes widened, and he spat out a mouthful of black blood, dying on the spot. Who? Perhaps Sikong Ling and the rest did not see clearly, but Ningyu saw it clearly. Just as the peak primal core stage martial artist was about to reveal Hu Fei's backing, a cold light appeared in the air and directly pierced the peak primal core stage martial artist's neck. Killed in one blow. Truly killed in one blow. Clap, clap, clap. Then, the sound of hands clapping came from outside the door. Not long after, a middle-aged man in gray slowly appeared in front of Ningyu and the others. Peak middle yin-yang realm. Seeing the gray-clothed man in their field of vision, Zhou Tong and Sikong Ling's hearts instantly sank to the bottom. If a peak middle stage yin-yang realm martial artist wanted to kill them, it would be effortless. "Ningyu, I'll block him. You leave quickly." Sikong Ling even broke free from Feng Zi's grasp and stood in front of Ningyu. "Leave? With me, Ding Hua. Here today, none of you can leave." The corners of the gray-robed man's lips curled up into an arc as he said darkly, "If you know what's good for you, then surrender as soon as possible." "No, there's no point in surrendering, because all of you will die today." "Why should I leave?" Ningyu had no intention of leaving. He said indifferently, "A mere middle-stage yin-yang realm martial artist can't do anything to me." "Hey, I think you won't shed tears until you see the coffin." Hearing Ningyu's words, Ding Hua smiled evilly and said, "Fine, today I'll let you know the consequences of bragging." Swoosh! While talking, Ding Hua rose from the ground and charged towards Ningyu. "You guys step back for now. Let me deal with this so-called Ding Hua." Ningyu first waved his hand at Lu Swan and the others. Then, a glint of coldness flashed in his eyes. The primordial chi in his ocean of consciousness gathered on his wrist, and he turned his hand to meet Ding Hua's palm. Smack! When the two palms met, there was no earth-shattering event. There was only a hint of solemnity on Ding Hua's face. Pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Through the hasty exchange, Ding Hua basically judged that Ningyu's strength was on par with him. Ningyu even faintly had a tendency to suppress him. This made Ding Hua feel a little embarrassed. One had to know, he was a peak middle stage yin-yang realm martial artist, while Ningyu's cultivation was several levels lower than his. Ningyu can actually contend with a peak middle stage yin-yang realm martial artist. Too inconceivable. Ningyu fighting Ding Hua to a draw in one move truly made Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling extremely surprised. They had never seen Ning use might before. It was inevitable that they would be shocked. Woof woof. Right at this time, Harry Ball tunneled out from Lu Wei's bosom and revealed a small head, barking at Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling twice in dissatisfaction. Furthermore, Harry Ball shot a glance at Ding Hua, revealing a disdainful look. That expression seemed to be saying, "Isn't it just a middle-stage yin-yang realm martial artist? What's the big deal?" Being mocked by a dog, Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling were somewhat embarrassed. But as embarrassed as they were, their eyes were still fixed on the battlefield, staring at Ningyu, who was fighting with Ding Hua. "I admit that you're very strong." Ding Hua's eyes locked on Ningyu, and he said in a deep voice, "But compared to me, you're still slightly lacking. Now you have two choices. The first, no, I don't want to choose either." Ningyu directly interrupted Ding Hua's words and said, "On the contrary, you have two choices. The first is to submit to me, the second is to die." Courting death. Ding Hua felt insulted and immediately leaped up, rushing towards Ningyu again. Solitaire. Ningyu's eyes turned cold, and he immediately drew out the soul-severing sword, at the same time slashing out a shocking sword wave. The red demon sword was advancing towards the emperor level, so Ningyu naturally could not use it. Fortunately, he still had the soul-severing sword in hand. Otherwise, Ningyu could only rely on his hands to fight Ding Hua. It's just a small trick. Ding Hua did not take the sword wave that was coming towards him seriously. Instead, he flicked his sleeves, and in an instant 2 cold lights swept out. One of the cold lights attacked the sword wave, and the other one attacked Ningyu. "Ningyu, this day next year will be your..." "What?" After the 2 cold lights attacked, Ding Hua seemed to see the scene of Ningyu being killed, and he said coldly. However, halfway through his cold words, his pupils shrank sharply, and he could not help but retreat. Swoosh! Because Ding Hua found that as soon as the cold lights came into contact with the sword wave, they were blown away. Moreover, the sword wave that Ningyu slashed out did not stop because of this. Instead, its speed soared further, and it slashed towards his neck. Puff! Although Ding Hua retreated immediately, he still underestimated the speed of the sword wave. It didn't take long for the sword wave to catch up with him. Fortunately, he dodged to the side at the critical moment. Otherwise, with just this sword wave, Ningyu would be able to kill him. Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling, who were at the side, were already dumbfounded. Even Li Tongtian and Feng Zi felt that it was somewhat unbelievable. The reason why Li Tongtian and Feng Zi felt that it was unbelievable was because they felt that they had once again underestimated Ningyu. They felt that Ningyu was really too abnormal. Originally, in their opinion, Ningyu's strength was between the beginner and intermediate stage of the yin-yang realm, and he could at most contend with intermediate stage martial artists. However, the powerful strength that Ningyu displayed now was completely beyond their expectations. Ding Hua was a martial artist at the peak of intermediate stage of the yin-yang realm, but he was actually not a match for Ningyu. Chapter 584. The leader of the black market, Ningyu. It seems that I have underestimated you. At this time, Ding Hua's eyes flickered. He was obviously afraid of his carelessness. If you only have this little ability, then I can tell you very clearly that this day, next year, will be the anniversary of your death. Ding Hua took a deep breath and immediately took out a white elixir from his bosom and swallowed it in front of everyone. Swish! As the white elixir went into his stomach, Ding Hua's aura rose at an extremely alarming rate. The peak of the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm. Late stage of Yin-Yang realm. In just a few seconds, Ding Hua's cultivation was forcibly raised from the middle stage of Yin-Yang realm to the late stage of Yin-Yang realm, and there was no sign of it continuing to increase. Everyone, step back. Seeing that Ding Hua's cultivation had skyrocketed, Ningyu said in a deep voice, "Sikong Ling, bring everyone to a safe place. Leave Ding Hua to me. You'll handle it?" It depends on whether you have that ability. The corner of Ding Hua's mouth raised. The moment his voice fell, he immediately leaped up, and a monstrous primordial qi unscrupulously suppressed Sikong Ling and the others. Swoosh! At the critical moment, Ningyu exerted his speed to the extreme and blocked in front of Sikong Ling and the others in the blink of an eye. At the same time, a wave of primordial qi that was not weaker than Ding Hua's gushed out from Ningyu's body and came into direct contact with Ding Hua's primordial qi. Qi. After the two waves of primordial qi came into contact, they were actually evenly matched and no one could do anything to the other. Go! At this moment, Sikong Ling seized the opportunity and hurriedly said, "There is a secret room in my mansion that can withstand a full blow from a warrior in the late stage of Yin-Yang realm. Go, leave quickly. Yes, we can't cause trouble for Ningyu. Hurry up, so that Ningyu can wholeheartedly deal with Ding Hua without any worries." Feng Zi and the others were not fools. They naturally knew that leaving at this time was the wisest choice. In just a few seconds, Feng Zi and the others all left. At this time, only Ningyu and Ding Hua were left in this area. Ding Hua, I didn't want to get involved in the fight with the young master of your black market, but you shouldn't have attacked Sikong Ling after Lu Wei and the others left. Ningyu felt a little relieved. Honestly speaking, with Sikong Ling and the others here, Ningyu really couldn't reveal his trump card. You shouldn't have? Ha. It was as if Ding Hua had heard the funniest joke in the world. He first threw his head back and laughed wildly, then said coldly, "The fight for the position of black market young master has always been very cruel. Sikong Ling can only blame himself for not having a strong backer." A powerful backer? Ningyu raised his eyebrows and said calmly, "What do you think of me? You?" Ding Hua stared at Ningyu, then shook his head and said, "Although your strength is passable, compared to young master Hu Fei's backer, it's far too lacking." Far too lacking, huh? Then you see how much you're lacking in this case. The corners of Ningyu's mouth curled up slightly, and he said coolly, "Come out." Come out? Who what? Hearing Ningyu's words, Ding Hua was a little puzzled. However, just as he was puzzled, two cold lights suddenly swept out from the storage ring on Ningyu's wrist. In an instant, the two martial artists landed steadily in front of Ningyu. Hiss! Feeling the powerful aura exuding from the two martial artists, Ding Hua's heart sank to the bottom. One of the martial artists' aura was vigorous. Without a doubt, his cultivation had reached the peak of late-stage Yin-Yang realm. Although the other was slightly weaker, his cultivation had also reached the peak of middle-stage Yin-Yang realm. Although Ding Hua took the elixir to raise his cultivation to late-stage Yin-Yang realm, his late-stage Yin-Yang realm was just a dabbler. In front of a real late-stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist, it was not enough at all. It could be said that the martial artist at the peak of late-stage Yin-Yang realm in front of him only needed 2 or 3 moves to defeat him. Run. At this moment, there was only one thought in Ding Hua's mind, and that was to run. Swoosh. As soon as the idea arose, it lingered, and Ding Hua directly put it into action. Chase. How could Ningyu allow Ding Hua to escape? The moment Ding Hua moved, he said to Lung Mian and Evil, within 1 minute, dead or alive. Swoosh, swoosh. When Evil Eye and Lung Mian came out, they locked their aura on Dinghua. As soon as Ning Yu gave the order, the two of them turned into two shadows and chased after Dinghua. Lung Mian did not let Ning Yu down. In just 30 seconds, they caught Dinghua. Moreover, Dinghua's aura was weak at this time, as if he would die at any time. I'll give you one last chance to live. Tell me Hu Fei's background in your next move. Ning Yu's tone was cold, and he said in a deep voice, also, what is the cultivation of the strongest martial artist in the black market? Ha ha, you want me to say this? You're dreaming. Dinghua laughed wildly, as if he did not care about life and death. I have a way to know even if you don't tell me. Ning Yu shrugged and then transmitted his voice to Sun Jiangwen. How many supreme grade crystals will it cost to use that array to force out the information that Dinghua knows? There were a total of 2 arrays in the storage ring. One was used to remove the special smell of the corpse insect martial artists, and the other was used to control the martial artists. Both arrays were arranged by Sun Jiangwen, so he knew very well how many crystals would be consumed. Dinghua is a martial artist at the intermediate stage of Yin-Yang realm. It will cost 10,000 supreme grade crystals to control him. Sun Jiangwen answered honestly. 10,000 is not much. Ning Yu thought for a moment and said, how long will it take? 3 hours if he's alive, 3 or 4 minutes if he's dead, Sun Jiangwen said. Lung Mian, kill Dinghua, and then bring him to the storage ring for Sun Jiangwen to deal with. Ning Yu's original idea was to kill Dinghua. This way, it could give a deterrent effect to Hu Fei's backer and send a message to them that Xikong Ling's backer was not weak either. To be able to easily kill a martial artist at the intermediate stage of Yin-Yang realm, his cultivation must at least be at the advanced stage of Yin-Yang realm or even the peak stage of Yin-Yang realm. In the future, if the young master of the black market wanted to make a move on Xikong Ling, he would have to think twice. Ning Yu, you can't kill me. Hu Fei's backer is from the black market. Pucci. Hearing that Ning Yu wanted to kill him, Dinghua shouted like crazy. However, he had only shouted halfway when he stopped abruptly. Swish. The next moment, Lung Mian and Evil Eye, one on the left and one on the right, grabbed Dinghua and swept into the storage ring. Swoosh. 5 minutes later, Dinghua was thrown out of the storage ring, and he was no longer breathing. Hu Fei's backer is one of the 3 great elders of the black market, and his cultivation is at the peak stage of Yin-Yang realm. At this moment, Sun Jiangwen's voice sounded in Ning Yu's ear. Dinghua and the rest were sent by that peak stage Yin-Yang realm martial artist in order to get rid of all the young masters who are ranked before Hu Fei. Is the black market going to be in turmoil? Ning Yu frowned slightly and said, what is the cultivation of the strongest person in the black market? Chapter 585. Seed Young Master, the current helmsman of the black market, Black Widow, is rumored to already have half a foot into the creation realm. When Sun Jiangwen's words fell, Ning Yu's expression became solemn. Organizations like the black market generally did not allow outsiders to intervene in their internal struggles, unless the outsider's strength was extremely heaven-defying. And Ning Yu's strength clearly had not reached the level of heaven-defying yet. Even if the Alchemy Hall Master was by his side and the Red Fiend sword advanced to Monarch rank, it was also impossible for him to be a match for a half-step creation realm martial artist. Moreover, Hu Fei's backer was one of the black market's 3 great elders, whose cultivation had reached the peak of Yin-Yang realm. I also don't know if helping Xikong Ling is right or wrong. Ning Yu sucked in a deep breath and muttered. Helping Xikong Ling meant that he had to fight with the other powerhouses of the black market. To the current Ning Yu, the pressure was still very great. Forget it. Things will sort themselves out when they come to it. After a while, Ning Yu shook his head and went to find Xikong Ling. At the same time, inside the secret chamber where Xikong Ling was. I wonder if Ning Yu could defeat Dinghua. Xikong Ling paced back and forth in the secret chamber, his face revealing an anxious look. although Ning Yu's strength was very strong. Ding Hua consumed medicinal pills to raise his cultivation to the late-stage yin-yang realm. Ning Yu might be able to contend with the middle-stage Ding Hua of the yin-yang realm, but against the late-stage Ding Hua of the yin-yang realm, he might not be able to gain the upper hand. Logically speaking, it's not difficult for Ning Yu to defeat Ding Hua, Feng Zi said with a frown. Feng Zi stayed in the storage ring for a very long time and naturally knew that there were powerhouses like Lung Mian and Evil Eye in the storage ring. Regardless of whether it was Lung Mian or Evil Eye, they could contend with Ding Hua and even kill him. If the two of them attacked together, Ding Hua probably would not even last a minute. However, it wasn't convenient for Feng Zi to tell Xikong Ling about these things, so he could only comfort him. What we need to do now is to wait. I believe it won't be long before Ning Yu comes to find us. That's right. You have to trust in Ning Yu. Li Tongtian more or less knew about the situation inside the storage ring, so he was more at ease with Ning Yu. But, hearing this, Xikong Ling still wanted to say something, but his face lit up. Dong dong. A crisp knocking sound rang out in the secret chamber. Xikong Ling, what are you waiting for? Hurry up and open the door for me. Outside the secret chamber, Ning Yu looked at the sturdy stone door and said unhappily, if it wasn't for the fear of destroying the secret room, Ning Yu really wanted to test his strength. After all, Xikong Ling had said that this secret room could block a full-powered attack from a late-stage yin-yang realm martial artist. Creak! Just as Ning Yu was deep in thought, the heavy stone door slowly opened from the inside. Ning Yu, it's great that you're fine. Scare me to death. Did Ding Hua leave or die? As soon as Ning Yu stepped into the secret chamber, Xikong Ling and the others came to greet him. Hearing everyone's discussion, Ning Yu was speechless for a while and said, I'll give a unified answer. I'm fine, very good. Ding Hua didn't leave. He's already been killed. What? Ding Hua was killed. Hearing this, Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling revealed a horrified expression. Ding Hua was a mid-stage yin-yang realm martial artist, and he was killed just like that? If Ning Yu could kill Ding Hua, how strong was his own strength? A series of questions appeared in Xikong Ling and Zhou Tong's minds. Even the way they looked at Ning Yu was a little strange. Ning Yu almost thought that they had a special hobby. Xikong Ling, what's your ranking among all the young masters in the black market? Ning Yu hurriedly changed the topic and asked, can I be in the top 3? Top 3 is impossible, but top 5 is possible. Xikong Ling shook his head and said, the first young master of the black market, Zhou Jianming, peak Yuan Dan stage cultivation. The second young master, Han Qi, peak Yuan Dan stage cultivation. The third young master is Yu Ling, peak Yuan Dan stage cultivation. I'm at the peak of the true martial realm, ranked 4th among all the young masters. You're ranked 4th among all the young masters? Why is there such a big gap between your cultivation and the top 3? Ning Yu frowned and said, the top 3 young masters of the black market were all at the peak Yuan Dan cultivation. Logically speaking, it was impossible for the 4th young master to only be at the peak of the true martial realm. This was too illogical. Xikong Ling explained, there's no other way. The top 3 young masters of the black market all have a strong background. The black market has 3 elders, all of whom are at the peak of the yin-yang realm. And all 3 of them have young masters who support Han Qi, Yu Ling, and Hu Fei, who is only at the early stage of the true martial realm. Recently, the upper echelons of the black market have decided to choose a seeded young master to be the next leader of the black market. So every young master's background is doing their best to fight for the young master they support to break out of the encirclement. After listening to Xikong Ling's words, Ning Yu fell into deep thought. From the looks of it, if Xikong Ling wanted to break out from all the other young masters, just having a strong background was not enough. He had to be strong himself. Otherwise, everything would be empty talk. After all, the peak of the true martial realm and the peak of the primal core realm were separated by a huge gap. With Xikong Ling's talent, it would be very difficult to overcome. After a moment, Ning Yu said, How confident are you that you can win the seated young master? Me? Sikong Ling pointed at his nose and smiled bitterly. Although I also have a background, my background is only at the late stage of the yin-yang realm. Today, my background did not come, so it seems that he has been restricted. Besides, my cultivation is only at the peak of the true martial realm. Even if I have a strong background, it will be very difficult to fight for the seated young master. When will the seated young master selection begin? Ningyu frowned. Half a month later, Sikong Ling said. Half a month's time, Ningyu murmured. In half a month's time, to let Sikong Ling advance from the peak of the true martial realm to the peak of the primal core realm was as difficult as ascending to the heavens. However, advancing to the early stage of the primal core realm, or even the middle stage of the primal core realm, was still possible. If Sikong Ling learned a few more powerful techniques, he might be able to fight for the seated young master. These 2 days, you should rest well and adjust your mental state to its peak. Ningyu thought about it and decided to fight for Sikong Ling. In these few days, I will get you a supreme grade essence transformation pill. You should strive to break through to the primal core realm. A supreme grade essence transformation pill. Sikong Ling's eyes widened, his face full of shock. The essence transformation pill was a peak 5th grade medicinal pill. It was an essential medicinal pill for martial artists at the peak of the true martial realm to advance to the primal core realm. And a supreme grade essence transformation pill was even more difficult to obtain. If I have a supreme grade essence transformation pill, I can even directly advance to the middle stage of the primal core realm. Sikong Ling said firmly. Very good. Ningyu nodded. Then with a flick of his sleeve, a slightly yellowed book appeared in his hand. There were a few large words on the book. Heaven Opening Desolation Palm. Heaven Opening Desolation Palm was a soul attack technique that Ningyu had obtained from the Zhang clan's Zhang Jin. At the beginning, when Ningyu's cultivation was low, cultivating was of great help to him. But as Ningyu's strength increased, cultivating the Heaven Opening Desolation Palm was no longer of much use. Chapter 586. Tracking. Heaven Opening Palm of Desolation. Seeing the words on the yellowed book, not only Sikong Ling's jaw dropped, but even Feng Zi and Li Tongtian's jaws dropped, their faces full of disbelief. That's right, Heaven Opening Palm of Desolation, an attack on the soul. Ningyu casually threw the book to Sikong Ling and said, try to train it to the 3rd palm before the Battle of Seeds. That way, when you reach the middle stage of the primal core stage, your overall ability should be able to compete with the peak of the primal core stage. Such a valuable item, Sikong Ling hesitated as he held the book. Don't be so wishy-washy, just take it. Why do you have so many things to worry about? Ningyu pretended to be angry and said, I'm not giving it to you without conditions. I have a few friends who have nowhere to go and want to stay here for a while. That shouldn't be a problem, right? No problem. Of course not a problem. After a short pause, Sikong Ling hurriedly said, you can stay as long as you want, but at this point, Sikong Ling looked embarrassed and continued, now that I'm being watched by Hu Fei, I'm afraid this place is not very safe. Hee, you don't have to worry about safety. Ningyu smiled and said, as long as one of the 3 elders of the black market doesn't come, no one can do anything to them. How powerful are your friends? Sikong Ling asked doubtfully. Creak. At this moment, the heavy stone door opened again. Then a few warriors walked in side by side. Hiss. Even though Sikong Ling was mentally prepared, he could not help but suck in a breath of cold air when he saw the sudden appearance of a few cultivators. A peak of the late yin-yang stage. A peak of the middle yin-yang stage. A mid-yin-yang stage, and 2 early yin-yang stage warriors. There was even a peak of the primal core stage warrior with a 7th grade soul power. It was hard to imagine that such a luxurious lineup was actually all Ningyu's friends. Gulp. Besides Sikong Ling, Zhou Tong and the rest also swallowed their saliva. It turned out that the lineup around Ningyu was so luxurious. No wonder they could easily kill Ding Hua of the mid-Yin-Yang stage. With so many warriors working together, they could even fight against a peak Yin-Yang realm warrior. Chairman Zhou, you guys will temporarily stay here with Xikong Ling today. Don't go anywhere else. Ningyu ignored the shock of Zhou Tong and the others and said directly, I have something to do later, so I might have to leave for a while. You're leaving? Hearing this, Zhou Tong was startled and then said, These are not normal times. In my opinion, you should stay here with us so that we can look after each other. Zhou Tong was very clear that since Ningyu had offended Situ Wan and Zhao Kuo in the Alchemy Union, with their nature, there was an 80% chance that they would seek revenge. Ningyu's decision to leave at this time was undoubtedly the wrong choice. Don't worry, I'll be fine. Ningyu waved his hand and said, Tomorrow was the alchemy competition, but Ningyu did not even have a decent alchemy furnace. Therefore, Ningyu planned to make use of this time to buy an alchemy furnace. Since Lung Mian and Evil Eye were here, the safety of Lu Wei and the rest would not be too much of a problem. Ningyu, I want to go with you. However, before Ningyu left the secret room, Lu Wei quickly caught up and said, I don't want to stay here. I want to make a trip to Danwu College. Li Tongtian also took a step forward and said, I also have something to do. Fengzi hesitated for a moment and said the same. Ningyu's face was full of black lines. All right, let's go together. As he spoke, Ningyu directly left the secret room. He was afraid that if he stayed any longer, Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling would also want to leave. Fengzi and Li Tongtian were still fine. After all, they were very strong, and at least if they encountered a peak primal core warrior, it would not be a big problem. Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling's strength was really too low. If they left at this time, it would be no different from sending them to their deaths. Looking at the backs of Ningyu and the rest leaving, Zhou Tong and Xikong Ling looked at each other and saw the helplessness in each other's eyes. At the same time, Ningyu and the rest had already left Xikong Ling's place. Ningyu, I'm going to Danwu College first. See you tomorrow. Not long after, Li Tongtian said goodbye to Ningyu and rushed towards Danwu College. After walking for a while, Fengzi also said, I have something to do. It might take 2 or 3 days. Fengzi, with our relationship, if you have anything to say, just tell me. Feeling the worry between Fengzi's brows, Ningyu said calmly, As long as I can help, I will do everything I can to help you. It's nothing big, I can handle it myself. Fengzi's eyes flickered and he said, Go do what you need to do. All right, you must do your best in the alchemy competition tomorrow. I believe you can win the final championship. As soon as he finished speaking, Fengzi turned into an alley without looking back and quickly disappeared. Seeing Fengzi disappear from his sight, Ningyu frowned, vaguely feeling that something was wrong. Evil Eye, think of a way to follow Fengzi. No matter what, you must ensure his safety. After secretly giving some instructions, Ningyu was slightly relieved. Evil Eye was a martial artist at the peak of the intermediate Yin-Yang realm. With him by Fengzi's side, at least Fengzi's safety would be greatly guaranteed. Let's go. After giving instructions, Ningyu said to Lu Wei. Where to? Lu Wei asked. Furnace Pavilion. Ningyu replied. What Ningyu did not know was that as soon as he and Lu Wei left, 2 martial artists appeared not far away. One was tall and the other was short. The taller one was half a step into the Yin-Yang realm, while the shorter one was in the early Yin-Yang realm. What should we do? Should we go back and tell young Master Situ, or continue to follow them? The taller martial artist frowned. Young Master Situ has instructed that Ningyu's whereabouts must be reported to him as soon as possible. The shorter martial artist thought about it and said, How about this? Go back and tell young Master Situ that Ningyu first stayed at Xikong Ling's place for a period of time before going to the Furnace Pavilion. Understood. The taller martial artist responded and was about to leave. Wait. However, the taller martial artist had only taken a few steps when the shorter martial artist waved his hand and said, I will follow Ningyu. You go get rid of that Fengzi first. After all, he is only in the early Yuan dance stage. As for that Li Tongtian, he is in the peak Yuan dance stage. It will be difficult to kill him in a short period of time. Let him live for now. Good idea. The taller martial artist's eyes lit up, and he disappeared in a leap, obviously in pursuit of Fengzi. After the tall martial artist left, the short martial artist's lips curled up into an arc as he spoke. Ningyu, blame yourself for offending young Master Situ. From today onwards, everyone around you will die slowly in endless pain and torture. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.